It's the Division III National Semifinal. A spot in the Stag Bowl on the line today here in Naperville, Illinois. We're at Benedetti Worley Stadium. The Susquehanna Riverhawks, with one loss on the year, taking on undefeated and top-ranked North Central. The Cardinals have been unbeaten on their home turf for the last 6 years. They do not lose here at home. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Susquehanna is true road warriors. They have not lost a road game in 3 years. Something has to give here today for a spot in the national championship game. The other semifinal has gone final. Johns Hopkins gave Mount Union a game, but it's Mount Union that has punched its ticket to this year's Stag Bowl that will be played January 5th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN against the winner of our game here today. And welcome, everybody. Along with Tioka Jackson, I'm Doug Sherman. So glad you're with us here today with so much riding on this football game. It is the holiday season. Somebody's going to have a coal in their stocking at the end of the night. Somebody else going to have a big present.
Well, they're shopping for a bigger game. You like how I did that?
I like
shopping,
that.
Yes. Both teams, excellent football teams, but it all comes down to the biggest day of the year, and we get to watch it live and in person.
No doubt. Now, for Susquehanna, there's not one player you've really got to key on. They have a three-headed monster at the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver positions.
Well, look, offensive coordinator Mike Wyan has an embarrassment of riches of toys, and these three guys are the shiniest of them all. Ehrlich is nearly a 70% passer. They got a true freshman kid at the running back position who's averaging 6.7 a carry, and Kyle Hoves is big, fast, and physical. Tough offense to stop.
Meanwhile, Luke Lehnen is the reigning Gallardi Trophy winner. That's the Division III equivalent of the Heisman Trophy, and he's a finalist again this year.
Yeah, he is the leader in career passing efficiency of all divisions. If he finishes where he is now, that's where he'll finish. But here's what's funny, Doug, when you watch the guy on tape, he's a better runner than thrower, and that's what makes him so hard to stop. Really the best D3 quarterback I've ever seen.
National Football League and Major League Baseball scouts are watching Luke Lehnen. That's how talented he is. Football is his first love, and he would love to get his team back to the national championship game with a win on home turf here today. We are set for football. North Central won the toss and elected to receive. The football goes off the tee. And so the place kicker for the Riverhawks, Dominic Bourgeois, will put it back on its tee. Not that windy, but it certainly is cold. Everybody bundled up. 26 degrees, feels like it's 20. Tioka and I are glad to be inside with the windows open. Not
Yes.
too bad with a heater right here, but it's a good afternoon for football.
It is. Still not taking my jacket off quite yet, though. I don't trust it.
Not yet.
We got a little wind coming in.
Both just warming up. And we are underway. Sean Allen tripped up at about the 20-yard line. We've got a flag down. Terrific coverage downfield by Gary Rowe Jr. to come up with that tackle.
Tackled by Gary Rowe Jr. There is a flag on the field.
Games like this, Doug, so often the kicking game.
During the return, personal foul, illegal blindside block, return team, number 26, enforced half the distance to the goal line. It's first down.
That's on Theo Millis, one of the linebackers playing on special teams. So the first offensive possession of the afternoon for the Cardinals will start at their own 11-yard line, and you get a chance to see what we've been talking about. Luke Lehnen has been a great player at the Division III level for a long time.
Yeah, and the consistency of the high level of play, which is so impressive to watch. And again, we talked about his efficiency in the pocket, out of the pocket. He's thrown for a ton of touchdowns, but he is the second leading rusher on this offense. Watch how dynamic he is.
35 touchdown passes, only 5 interceptions. This is Joe Sacco back in the starting lineup today. The senior from Bartlett, Illinois, picks up 9 yards on first down.
Yeah, just a simple outside zone, but 9 yards. That's pretty good efficiency on first down.
Well, Sacco earlier this week was listed as questionable. He and Charles Coleman both. The running back room has been in flux in recent weeks. Sean Allen got the start last week and was terrific with a career-high 94 yards. But Sacco, who was second team all-conference, picks up 9. Pass is broken up. Not sure who that pass hit, the offensive lineman or Jake Schultes, the defensive end, who is one of the best at the D3 level.
Well, that's definitely Jake getting upfield. Take a look at the upfield move and the hand in the passing lane. If you can't get to the quarterback and affect the actual throw with a hit, you get your hands up. He's 6'3". He's got some long arms too. That length served him well there.
And those arms are never covered. He's old school, no sleeves, no wristbands.
How about that?
He just gets it done. 8.5 sacks so far this season, second most for a single season in program history. Keep it on the ground. That's a first down run and then some out across the 25-yard line. Gain of 6 for Sacco. Well, the Cardinals are 3-0. The offense as good as the defense. The numbers really are just awe-inspiring.
Yeah, and what you're not seeing in that graphic is what makes all of that possible is this offensive line. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a more physical and athletic offensive line. Watch how often these guys never hit the ground on run plays.
Running on first down up the middle. Another good positive run of 7. This time is Sean Allen with the carry, who for his career, just a sophomore, he averages 7.1 yards per carry. He's got 16 touchdowns and counting. This is your third string running back.
Right. And again, that comes back to the offensive line, though. When you can roll in multiple backs, inexperienced backs, but the production doesn't drop, you know the big guys up front are handling business.
Yeah, Jeske Maples and Sam Pryor are as decorated a pair of offensive linemen as you're going to find in the country. Huge run for Sean Allen. He's down at about midfield after a 17-yard gain.
So right now, Susquehanna is adjusting to the physicality up front. And they talked about it to a man and their staff. This is the most physical offensive line we've faced all year. So now the only way, because they're not going to stop running the ball. I'm just going to tell you right now, the only way you can get better defensively, and this is just the first drive, you got to fight this physicality with your physicality.
There you see Maples, Fairley, Golden, Pryor, and Kennelly as good as there is in the country. First pass completion to Jacob Parody inside the 10. Touchdown from Luke Lehnen. 50-yard touchdown strike.
Wow. And we talked about the numbers from Lehnen. We talked about his ability to use his legs, but the accuracy when he's on the run is really fun to watch. And Parody, this is what he does. He came into this game averaging 19.2 a catch, which is sensational, but it sure helps when the defender falls down, right? Susquehanna's playing zone coverage. They're in good shape, but here's the defender on the ground. He couldn't be in the throwing lane, and it doesn't get any easier than that. But look at the offensive line, or excuse me, the wide receiver acting like an offensive line blocking downfield. We'll talk about that after the kick.
Point after is good, and so North Central strikes quickly, already on the board with a touchdown, just 2.5 minutes in.
So when we talked to the staff of North Central, they talked about these wide receivers and how well they're blocked. So let's take a look at the route on the outside, first of all. We've got a deep guy running the corner off. The slot breaks it off to the bench route. So it's a great throw. Now watch the receiver turn and block. This is now a lead run play in the middle of the play, and nobody touches Parody because the defender has Velcro on his jersey. That's an unbelievable job of blocking. I need to find out who it is because his name deserves to be called, Doug. But that's what these guys do. You can't play wide receiver in this offense if you don't block.
They've got 3 all-conference receivers. So you see Parody. Jack Rummel is number 8. He was second-team all-conference. And then the featured guy, if you picked one, Thomas Skokna, first-team all-conference receiver, a junior from Hinsdale, Illinois. And like you said, they don't just catch and run the football. They do everything very well.
And they reward them with throws. Don't get it twisted. As you talk about Skokna, he came in averaging 7.2 a catch. He's got 12 touchdown receptions. So they feed their receivers, but they earn it by blocking both in the pass game and the run game. Andre
Casas, sophomore from Oswego, Illinois, will kick things off for the Cardinals. Kyle Howes, number 5 in white, deep to receive, and he will return it from his own 8-yard line. That was Rashawn Lamont, who they kicked to, and we will be calling his name an awful lot, along with their quarterback Josh J.T. Ehrlich, a junior from Annapolis, Maryland.
Hey, he's a good football player. He's only 6'1", but man, he plays better than that in the pocket. He is a really good pocket passer, but he can run and extend plays and get you third down pickups as well. He's a very dynamic player, not quite as dynamic as Lehnen, but close.
Well, here's what J.T. Ehrlich told us this week. I have the heart of a running back, love to scramble and make people miss. On first down, he completes the pass out of the backfield to his first-year running back, Rashawn Lamont.
Yeah, that's a nice play by Zach Orr, the linebacker, because if he doesn't get off the block and make that play, Lamont is gone. And we've seen him. He's as explosive. He's talked about it. North Central said this is the most explosive back we've seen all year. And he's just a teenager, true freshman, man. He's something else.
And a big deal that Zach Orr is on the field to begin this game. He was, last week, ejected for what was called targeting. That ruling was reversed during the week, and that allows for Zach Orr, their terrific nickelback, to play the first half here today. No pickup. You see the club on the right hand of Braden Garrigan. He's one of two defensive players for North Central playing with a hand wrapped up. Can't maybe intercept a pass, can't maybe wrap up as well, but still very effective.
Well, when you're the unblocked player, you better make the play. And that time Garrigan stepped up as the unblocked player, and when that ball tried to bounce, he was right there, wrapped those arms, and got him down.
University of Indianapolis transfer, last couple of years with the D2 Greyhounds, first team all-conference this year for the Cardinals. On 3rd and 2, pass is dropped, looked like it was on the money, but Kyle Howes unable to haul it in.
Yeah, see, that's not very good. I mean, you have got to make that play if you're Susquehanna. You're at 3rd and short, and this is going to be a big part of this football game. Can they pick up third down conversions? Because they're playing against a juggernaut offensively, and they're really good offensively. They average 45 points, but if you can't stay on the field and possess the ball, man, that's a real problem when you're on the road.
Christian Colasurdo, the senior punter from Center Valley, Pennsylvania, standing at his own 15-yard line. Jacob Parody set to receive at about the 30. Under it, makes the catch at the 34, going to return it, and he is swarmed out of bounds at about the 38-yard line. We've gotten a taste of the offense and the defense for the Cardinals with the early 7-0 lead. Since before the pandemic, North Central as a football team has been as dominant as any in D3. 69-3. 2 of those 3 losses came in the Stag Bowl.
It's unbelievable. That's consistency as well. But these guys have a way of playing football. Their entire program buys in. And on this level, you don't have to worry about people leaving, NIL and all that. So this is very much about developmental when it comes to D3 football, and they do it the best.
And they have as much continuity in their staff as anyone in the country. Joe Sacco picks up 4. The head coach is Brad Spencer in his 3rd year as head coach, but he's been on staff for 21 years at his alma mater. When he graduated in 04, he held most of the wide receiver records in program history, and each of his 3 coordinators also former captains and star players in this Cardinals program. So if you've got that built in and a structure where players stay 4 and 5 and now 6 years during the pandemic, you're going to have a lot of success. Keep the football on the ground for the Cardinals. It's a first down run for Charles Chuck the Truck Coleman.
You've been waiting. Boy, they gave it to you early. You were waiting all week to give Chuck the Truck his love, but he deserves it, though. 5.7 to carry. They've got about 4 or 5 backs that they roll in, keep them fresh, and they pound the defense. And why? Again, why are they able to do it? The offensive line opens for holes. They don't care who is running the football.
Lehnen, all day to throw on the run. Got a man, and it's caught. Down at the 26-yard line, another first down. And the Cardinals move the chains on the nice grab.
So this is the dime on the move that we saw all week when you watch the tape. He's a dynamic athlete. Here's a problem going forward, though. I saw no defender to pull him up. So if he had no receiver to throw it to, he would have taken on run, and he might have scored. I've seen him do it on plays just like that.
That was a 22-yard pickup to Jack Rummel, the sophomore wide receiver. Short run up the middle, actually continues to move to get maybe 6 yards, 5 or 6 yards on first down. Brandon Shipley, the junior nose guard, in on the tackle. 3rd-year Riverhawk, 1st-year starter on the nose.
So that's a good positive play defensively right there for Susquehanna. Now they've got to pay it off. So at this very moment now, the sticks are in your favor. You're fine. You need to get a negative play or a no-gainer here to set yourself up on third down. You cannot continue to allow these guys to open up holes and run through them.
After picking up 5 on first down, Allen is replaced. Lehnen throws. Caught near the marker. Looks like a first down as the Cardinals move the chains one more time.
Here's the thing, Doug. When you can run it and throw it with efficiency, you're a tough team to stop. I mean, there's a reason why they're second in the country in scoring. They are a very talented group who do what they do very well. They came in averaging 52.4 a game. You lose a lot of games when you're scoring over 50.
Now they bring 2 big tight ends in. Bobby Bamer, number 89. Isaac Banker, number 87. Going to run the football up the middle. Sacco, hard to bring down. Still going inside the 5-yard line. Didn't quite get to the goal line. I guess they'll mark him at the 4. 13-yard gain for the senior out of St. Edward High School.
This is what I used to imagine as a kid in my backyard. I'm going to keep my legs driving, and I'm going to keep my legs moving, and I am pulling and moving and driving the pile forward. But as a kid, though, I didn't do it as well as Sacco does it.
Well, again, he was questionable coming into the game. He and Coleman both were dinged up and not certain they would get in there. But we have already seen 3 different running backs carry the football effectively in the early going for the Cardinals. Lehnen rolling right. Still looking. Floats it up to a wide open receiver.
Wow.
Touchdown, Miles Walton. 4 yards on the second touchdown pass of the day, thrown by Luke Lehnen.
So remember, a few plays ago, we talked about Lehnen on the move. There was no defender to pull him up. That time, watch the defender pull up the quarterback. Well, that's when the secondary play starts, and this guy's the best in D3 at making it happen after the initial play breaks down. Great job of uncovering by Walton, and if you uncover and Luke Lehnen's the quarterback, he'll find you.
Chip Dose the hold, and the kick by Sean Reinick is good. Well, Luke Lehnen is the all-time all-divisions career record holder for touchdowns responsible for, now with 205. He's gone 58 straight games with a touchdown. 10th-year head coach Tom Perkovich and his Susquehanna Riverhawks are riding a 10-game winning streak. They've already got 12 wins on the year, which is a program record. And in recent play during this NCAA tournament, they have been squeaking out win after win after win.
Yeah, this is the best Susquehanna season ever. And they come from behind and beat people. That's what they do. They never give up. They just keep playing. They don't scoreboard watch, and they're extremely resilient.
And so the late field goal beat St. John's, and then in the quarterfinals, again, had to come from behind and got a little bit of help from a penalty as well. The apparent winning touchdown for the opponent would come off the board because of a holding call. So again, Susquehanna survives and advances.
Yeah, and so that type of toughness is in this team's DNA. And so in this game today, what do you do down 2 scores on the road against a team that is 22-4 coming in playoff games in their own building?
Well, you got to stay within striking distance.
That's
and
right.
This is a very important offensive possession for the Riverhawks.
No question. They put themselves in position to move the chains in their opening drive. Just drop the pass, be efficient on first down, and get the third downs you can get to keep the ball in your possession.
Well, Kyle Howes is a good place to start. He has a 90-yard kick return touchdown this year against Juniata, one of the deep men. This is not Howes. Decent return to the 24-yard line. That was Rashawn Lamons. Yeah, kind of a, Coach Perk pointed out kind of an oddity out of their schedule this year. This is an opportunity for the Riverhawks to now have played the number 3 team in the country, the number 2 team in the country, and number 1. And oh, by the way, they're lost to Cortland. Cortland is the reigning national champion. St. John's, as you saw, took them right down to the wire, and now they're facing the number 1 team in the country. And that's pretty good scheduling right there. You got an opportunity to prove yourself against the best.
Yeah, I like the way you put that, too. You see really good 4-yard gain on first down. But Coach Perk mentioned it, but he wasn't complaining. I like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And because I think he understands it's an opportunity. And it also, when you play iron sharpers iron, when you play tough teams like that, you become better and tougher yourself.
5-yard pickup for Rashawn Lamons, who has a program record rushing this year, 1578 coming in. He's also accounted for 144 points this season, also a program record. Under pressure, pass is incomplete. Michael Robbins, one of the tight ends, could not come up with a sliding catch.
Well, right now you're seeing Josh Ehrlich needing to settle down. That incompletion in the first drive was a little bit behind Hose, and then here, this ball's a little low. Catchable balls, yes, but this is not the accuracy that I'm used to seeing from Ehrlich, because even if he catches that ball, he has to fall down with no rack yards.
Yeah, he's become a much better passer this year in the midst of the greatest passing season in the program's 125-year history, completing 69% of his attempts. Big one here on 3rd down and 5. Ehrlich keeps the play alive, now fires near sideline, and it's incomplete. Trying to find Hunter Morgenroth, but it was broken up. That is the second consecutive 3 and out forced by this North Central defense.
Yeah, and again, the struggle continues from Ehrlich. Does a good job not being happy feet here, just finding and extending. Gets a really good block from his freshman running back, but the ball's too high. He needs to put that ball where it needs to be because the coverage was tight, and that's a first down. So Josh Ehrlich needs to settle down and make the plays as they become available.
To receive the punt, Jacob Parody, a graduate student from Moeaqua, Illinois, second team all-conference, who has taken one back for as much as 53 yards this year. Fair catch there at the 31-yard line, and we will take a break with 6:33 remaining in the first quarter. North Central up by 2 touchdowns. As advertised, this North Central offense, led by Luke Lehnen, has gotten off to a quick start. He now has 156 career touchdown passes, 2 short of tying the Division III career record, and the efficiency is just what really jumps at you, Tyoka.
Well, I mean, those numbers are crazy. 11.6 per play is what they're averaging.
On the rollout, the throw by Lehnen is caught. 10-yard pickup. He is now 5 of 6 passing the football, already closing in on nearly 100 yards.
Again, getting him on the move, he's so comfortable rolling out. He's not just a runner, though. He's dynamic, but not just a runner. He rolls out with his eyes open, looking downfield.
Fake the handoff. Lehnen makes the first man miss, falls forward for a pickup of 8.
This is how they wear you down. Not only do they have 3 to 4 backs, but then they bring their quarterback in and run at you with him. And that's always the toughest guy to account for in the box is the quarterback, because you're trying to get everybody to their gaps, getting off blocks, but then now the quarterback keeps it on a zone read, and again, he's dynamic and fast. They say he runs over 22 miles an hour. That's almost as fast as you, though.
Only when I'm running from you. Sean Allen sneaks through the hole, able to get to the 45-yard line and move the chains on a 7-yard gain.
Yeah, so there's some elusiveness there. He's only 5'8", 184, but you never get a hard hit on him. Watch him get skinny in the hole. So there's the hole, and watch him get skinny. Look at that right there. That's beautiful movement in the hole and through the hole. You want to be slow to it, fast through it. Nice job by Sean Allen.
Well, at only 5'8", you would think if he has patience, he can kind of get lost behind some of the big boys up front. Give it to him again, bouncing it outside. Nice open field tackle to keep that to a fairly minimum pickup. Stephen Williams III, the boundary corner, with a sure tackle after a 4-yard gain.
So this time he shows us pressing the hole and a 2-foot jump cut. And you can do that with patience if there's no penetration. Why is there no penetration? Because, again, this offensive line is the best in the country.
Again, Maples at left tackle, second-team All-American. And the right guard, Sam Pryor, quote, he's a monster, say the coaches. First-team All-American, second-teamer last year. Both of them have been honored 4 consecutive years by the conference. Well, eventually, that defensive line was going to get home. This time it's Brian Layton with great coverage on the back end that allowed for them to finally get off their blocks, and that's a 13-yard loss.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a coverage sack, and that's fine, though. But this is complementary football. The back half does their job, and the front come alive. As soon as you see the quarterback pump or pat the ball, he should be getting hit. and Mr. Lehnen said, I'll take that opportunity to make that hit. So now, big opportunity to get off the field now for the Susquehanna defense.
Just the second third down for North Central here this afternoon, 3rd and 18. The line to gain is the 35-yard line of Susquehanna. Leighton's pass, caught. Is he in bounds? Yes! What a throw and what a catch along that sideline by Jacob Parody.
So the ability to extend again, but then Parody goes up, and then the presence of mind. All you need is one tap in college, folks, and that one tap is true from here.
A 20-yard pass play from the two-time captain Luke Lehnen to Jacob Parody.
Only 5'10", but man, he got some ups right there. I know you call a lot of basketball. I mean, that guy can dunk. I can tell you that right now.
We've got some good athletes out there. There's no question. And as we talked about, the quarterback who gets hit bounces away and keeps the play alive after being drilled by Brandon Shipley. Good pursuit to the football to stop it at the 30-yard line. But still, Luke Lehnen making something out of nothing.
Yeah, he's going to make it tough. All 11 guys have to defend number 5 because he's never going to give up on a play. Zone read again. Great penetration up inside by Shipley. Now you need the rest of your guys. Missed tackle there, and then here comes the cavalry.
Lehnen is 6'1", 202 pounds, a grad student from Chatham, Illinois. Two-time conference offensive player of the year. First-team All-American last year when he won the Gallardi Trophy as the best player in all of Division III. Joe Sacco's going to go to the house. He picks his way through the line, finds open space, and goes 30 yards for a touchdown.
Doug, you call a lot of basketball, and I know you've heard the term, especially when in NBA, it's a make or miss league. Well, football is very much the same. You can put all the X's and O's you want, but when you're in position to make the play, you got to make it. And if you miss tackles, you can forget about it, especially against dynamic athletes that make up the North Central roster. You have an unblocked player, you got to make the play that's available, or they will gash you.
And it looked like the Wagner College transfer, Shane Quast, who had a chance in the backfield. When he didn't make the play, the field just opened up for Sacco. And it's now 21-0 for the #1 team in the country.
So this is nothing more than a zone read dive play, and you have multiple guys free to make the play. A little bit overrun, a little bit off balance. You got to chest them up and put pad on pad, because if you don't, Sacco, Allen, Coleman, and all the rest of them will run through arm tackles.
And you know what? Watching that replay, maybe it was number 8, their terrific middle linebacker, one of the captains, Garrett Carter, who had a shot.
And he was coming off a block. And that's what, I mean, that happens sometimes as a linebacker. You're a little bit off balance, you're coming off a block, and now your angle is compromised. So that's very tough. I would have liked to see the defensive lineman who had the opportunity get a better hit on him and bring him down, make the play yourself. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, the North Central Cardinals well on their way to matching or exceeding their average margin of victory, which is nearly 41 points per game, undefeated. They've won 36 straight games at home, and they are playing for a spot in the Stag Bowl against Mount Union. That'll be Saturday, January 5th at 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. That would be a rematch of 2 years ago when North Central won its second national championship.
Importance of being at home for North Central. Again, in the postseason, 22-4 in this building.
Lamons to the 26-yard line. And so now Susquehanna, that has run 6 plays for a total of 13 yards on 2 possessions, will try to get something going. On the flip side, North Central has 21 plays on offense for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, we know Luke Lehnen is lathered up and warmed up. You got to find a way now to get your quarterback Josh Ehrlich warmed up. What are the best ways to do that? Running the football and then easy throws. How about a wide receiver screen, or even a screen to your dynamic freshman Lamons? Give him some easy completions and help him feel good about himself.
And that running back Lamons, 5'8", 180 pounds, from Smyrna, Delaware, received Division I recruiting interest from schools in the Ivy League and the Patriot League, who were ultimately scared off by his height. But he is such a dynamic piece for this offense. Will Vernon comes up to make the stop.
He is a dynamic piece, and they did get the ball in space. But that was the wide receiver screen we were talking about, right? That helps get your quarterback lathered up But again, make or miss. Will Vernon, the unblocked player, makes the play in space to keep it to a minimal gain. No gain, actually.
At the 27.
On 2nd and 10. Ehrlich gives, and there is no running room whatsoever. One big pop and then a swarm of red jerseys.
Wow, 2 guys in the hole. Usually if you got one unblocked defender, that's good enough. They had 2 guys waiting for Lamons at the line of scrimmage. That's not going to make it happen. You're asking a lot for a young man to have 2 defenders waiting for you.
Well, Lamons is the 2024 Landmark Conference Rookie of the Year, also first-team All-Conference and first-team kick returner with 3 punt returns for touchdowns. If you don't get him, his explosive nature is going to get you.
2,426 yards coming in all-purpose. That's second in all of D3. Again, true freshman.
Third down and 10. Ehrlich gets rid of it, and it falls incomplete. Once again, trying to find Hunter Morganroth, the junior from Morris Plains, New Jersey.
Well, nice play by Caden Harnett, but the pressure now. This time you have everything squared away. You got some good route combinations, but the pressure forces your quarterback off his spot. And I don't care who the quarterback is. Generally, when it's a pocket pass play called, you don't want the quarterback having to move the launch point, and that made the throw just a little errant. And it's these little things right now that Susquehanna isn't doing to take advantage of some open receivers that's killing these drives.
And really at this point, with your third 3 and out, if you're Susquehanna, perhaps your best defense is a little bit of offense, because you give the football back to the Cardinals here. Late in the first quarter, they are going to do more damage.
No question about it. The play count is starting to mount. North Central now is starting to up the play count, which is going to be a problem for this defense. And so when the play count is starting to be a problem, 21 plays for North Central here early. That's a problem. That defense is beginning to get worn down, and we talk about this a lot. Running the football is like body blows in boxing. They pay dividends right away if you're running well, but in the third and fourth quarter, the legs of the defense just not going to be there because they were taking it in the gut in the first and second quarter.
Well, their punter just gave him a big lift, a 53-yard punt to flip the field. Christian Colasurdo, who since switching from having place-kicking duties and just focusing on his punting mid-season this year, has been a much better and more effective player. On the toss sweep, or on the jet sweep rather, Thomas Skokna, first-team All-Conference wide receiver, gained 6 yards.
Yeah, and that is a sweep play, but technically because he pushed it forward, that's a pass. Right, and so, but what the problem was, there was no in-man on the line of scrimmage, an edge defender to turn Skokna back, and so he was able to get 7 to 8 yards on first down.
Well, the home folks here in Naperville, Illinois, have seen this before. This team has not lost at home for 6 years.
That is the end.
And they are off to a flying start. The Cardinals take a 21-0 lead into the second quarter, and it's been all phases: offense, defense, special teams. North Central has it working here today. The numbers rarely lie, and so far here this afternoon in this Division III National Semifinal, the numbers make it very clear this has been domination from the start for North Central as we head to the second quarter, 21-0. And if you are Coach Perk, for the visitors, how on earth do you stem the tide?
Well, first thing, you got to get the offense off the field. The opposing offense is getting the ball and they're keeping the ball. That's problem number one.
Sean Allen with an 8-yard gain on first down. A gain of, it is a first down. So we flip it over to the 35-yard line.
The offensive line is dominating the football game. I mean, that's the bottom right now, Doug. Not getting enough penetration up front, and backs are getting to the second level untouched too often.
Walton was the motion man. Lehnen with the pass completion to Skokna. Still in play, spins around a defender and gets to midfield.
There's just a little bit difference of intensity from the guys in the red jerseys compared to the white. First of all, great job of finding the receiver and changing the launch angle to get the ball to him. And just watch the 1-2 from Susquehanna. The missed tackles are a problem, but the offensive players of North Central just refuse to go down.
First and 10 at the 47.
Tough snap. Lehnen just cuts his losses, tucks the football, and runs out of bounds at the 40-yard line. So even on a busted play, they pick up 7.
Got 5 plays of 20 yards or more. So they're doing it with the routine 7, 8, 9-yard gains that you saw there. And they also getting the big plays. So everything is working right now for the home team.
Well, Lehnen is a 4-year starter for the baseball team here at North Central in center field. As a sophomore, he had 10 triples, all conference. We asked him earlier this week, what would you have more fun doing, throwing an 80-yard touchdown pass or legging out a triple? Fakes the swing pass, still all day to throw from the pocket. He's got a wide open receiver down the sideline. And this is inside the 5-yard line on another huge chunk play. This time it's Miles Walton, who had his 6th touchdown of the year earlier today. Very nearly got in this time, instead tackled after a 37-yard pickup.
And I love the hustle from Jesse Roos to prevent the touchdown. But it doesn't really matter what the coverage is. You can run the double moves because there's nobody penetrating the pocket to harass the quarterback. And when you have that much time, it's just really hard to play pass defense.
9 straight completions for Lehnen, who now has Chuck the Truck in there. Number 21, Charles Coleman, faked the handoff to him. Flushed. Lehnen throws. Touchdown. Susquehanna on the receiving end of a 3-yard strike from Luke Lehnen.
I know I sound like a broken record. It's a make or miss game. You have a free defender. The problem is when you're playing against Luke Lehnen, he forces you to be technically sound and correct. You've got to stay outside. If you allow this guy to break the pocket, he's going to make something happen for his offense. Look at the dime on the run. Very impressive.
27-0. Sean Reinick, who is perfect on PATs this year. He's had an awful lot of opportunities. Now 96 for 96.
He won the Gallardi Trophy last year for a reason, and the way he's playing today, he's probably going to get it again, folks. That's the best player in D3 football.
Luke Lehnen now 10 of 11 passing for 176 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has completed 10 consecutive passes, and no surprise, he and the Cardinals off to a 28-0 start early second quarter. Welcome back, everybody. With Tioka Jackson, I'm Doug Sherman in this Division III National Semifinal to advance to the Stag Bowl that will be played in prime time 2 weeks from tonight on ESPN, and Mount Union will be the opponent. Casas kick received at the 12-yard line by Lamons. Good coverage downfield. Well, I've never seen a real unicorn. I don't know if they're real, but in terms of our sports parlance, we are seeing a unicorn here today.
Absolutely. Does it in multiple sports.
So he's an all-conference center fielder who also this past year, oh, by the way, he's got a good arm, put him on the mound. He was their closer as well. Major League scouts are intrigued. NFL scouts are intrigued. And again, starting that story I began before, we asked him, would you prefer, what's more fun for you, an 80-yard touchdown pass or legging out a triple? Smiled, thought about it, and said, probably the 80-yard touchdown pass, but an inside-the-park home run, maybe that's better than all of them.
How about that? How about that? And that's kind of a unicorn. You don't see that very often.
Now, he's hyper-competitive, and again, football was his first love, but 4 years of varsity baseball at Glenwood, and then 4 years playing center field at the Division III level. But again, he wants to play in the NFL if he can, and he is likely to get that opportunity. His predecessor got an opportunity with the 49ers, and there's every reason to think that he'll wind up in somebody's at least rookie minicamp. Whether he's able to go beyond, that'll be in his hands, but he is so good, he's going to have a chance.
Now, I remember when Coach Prime was coming out and he said football was his wife and baseball was his girlfriend. I don't know if that holds up nowadays.
I don't.
And Luke didn't say that. Let's not pin it on Luke. But You got the feeling that he was in total love with football.
I have a feeling Luke is not going to say that.
That's right.
Quarterback on the field is Josh Taylor Ehrlich. He goes by JT. At least that's what his mom, Kendall, says. Handed off to Lamons, and he's stacked up. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 3 or 4 yards to go.
Well, we haven't been able to see Lamons get loose yet. And so this defense of North Central has been really good at making the tackles when they're available. They haven't missed a lot, and they're making really physical tackles against this freshman, because when he gets in the open, he's a dog. Huge 3rd down here.
Well, in talking this week to the head coach Brad Spencer in North Central and his defensive coordinator Sean Dierking, they both said rhetorically, how did Susquehanna get that guy?
Right.
And we have yet to see what they're talking about. Lamons has been bottled up so far. He stays in to pass protect, throw down to single coverage, incomplete.
Wow.
The defensive back step for step with the intended receiver.
So that's the quintessential 50-50 ball that you're hoping your receiver can go up and make a play and moss the defender. But look at the beautiful job of being in position. Now, I will say this. There were some hands involved. There was a little bit of a physical hand job there by Jamar Daniel. Pause. But he got his hands on the receiver and got a little physical there. I thought maybe could have drew a flag. Maybe.
Maybe. And so the Cardinals defense again gets off the field and has Jacob Parody standing at its own 35-yard line, but it's a fake.
Wow.
Big opportunity, and if you're Susquehanna, why not? Tom Perkovich and the Riverhawks taking on water here today. They've got to have something go in their favor.
Yeah, I love that.
Connor Daly on the receiving end of the pass from the punter, Christian Colasurdo. Awful lot like UNLV the other night.
Yes, and this is a copycat sport, college football. And you can best believe the staff saw that fake punt by UNLV and decided to run their own. What a great job of sneaking out the receiver right through the middle of the formation.
Their first down comes on a trick play. Now on the end around, Howes able to pick up positive yardage. So, Ty, you're saying you don't think Susquehanna had that play in its playbook a week ago?
When we talked about it. Remember, we talked about what a great play that was with the staff. I know that they didn't have it in. I'd never seen the play before. That was one of the most well-designed to bring a guy across the formation inside and leaking through. You just don't think of that when you're on the punt return team.
Howes the receiver in the slot. After a 2-yard pickup, 2nd down and 8 for JT Ehrlich. Rolling the pocket to the right. Ehrlich's got time, unleashes it down the right sideline, but double coverage there and no chance of that pass being caught by Kyle Howes.
Yeah, they just tried to move the pocket, get him away from the rush. The rush has been affecting Ehrlich, and that time he had to try to fit it into a tight window and just couldn't do it on the move. I would have liked to see him just a little bit more of a high efficiency play. You got the big play of keeping the football on 4th down. You only got 2 yards on 1st down. Maybe run a little bit more of a safer pass to set yourself up to get a 3rd down conversion.
Susquehanna 0 for 4 on 3rd down this afternoon, facing a 3rd and 8.
The other side of the coin, though, maybe go forward on all 4 downs going forward. Who knows?
Movement up front. Nick Gonzalez, the terrific left tackle, was the one who moved early.
False start. Offense, number 53. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Well, you can tell things are off. He's the guy who sets the tone physically up front, a 3-time first-team all-conference player, and just a mental lapse right there.
Yeah, they say that's the guy. When we need a yard or two and everybody in the building knows we're going to run it, we're going to run it behind number 53, Nick Gonzalez. And so he is a pillar for this offensive line, and so that's the last guy you expect to do something like that. That pre-snap penalty, it's not loud enough in that building to really jump like that. Just got to hone in.
He's a guy who the coaches say has a shot at playing professionally. Arena football, Canadian Football League perhaps. 3rd down and long. Ehrlich in trouble. Double teamed and he goes down. Ultimately bringing him to the turf, Martin Egbo, 2nd-team All-American a year ago, who's not been nearly as productive this year, but makes a big play right there.
Yeah, and we've seen it go bad for now every group. We've seen the receivers drop a pass. We've seen the quarterback be a little bit off. And now watch the outstanding rush take full advantage of this offensive line. Like Egbo, there's no time.
So once again, Jacob Parody back to return the punt, which is delivered. No fake. It's a good one. Parody calls for a fair catch. And this Cardinals offense will come back onto the field looking to build on a 4-touchdown lead. Luke Lehnen, already a national champion and Gallardi Trophy winner, has a chance this year to add to each of those totals. Looking great here in the national semi.
If you've never seen him play, this highlight package is a microcosm of his career. He's doing it in a variety of ways, from the pocket, outside of the pocket, on the move, while pressured, no pressure. It doesn't really matter. The guy is as cool as it gets, as accurate as it gets, and even shakes off a little bit of limp to come back and keep playing.
And so the son of Christine, who's a school educator, dad Trevor, who's a teacher and a football coach, back to work. A completion on first down to Susquehanna, the junior receiver from Hinsdale, Illinois, who comes in as the top receiver for the Cardinals this year. Had 12 touchdowns coming into the day. That's a 4-yard pickup.
When you have a quarterback this efficient and you combine that with an outstanding run game, it makes it so hard to defend because you can't really load up on one thing because you're going to be vulnerable to the next. And so it kind of keeps the defense on the heels, and that's what we're seeing from this Susquehanna squad. They're kind of on their heels on every single play.
We've talked about the family nature of this North Central program and that the coaches are all former captains. There's a lot of familiarity in the wide receiver room as well. Quarterback keep. Lehnen steps out of bounds after a 4-yard gain. Their top 2 receivers, Susquehanna and Rummel, both have older brothers who played for the Cardinals. Susquehanna's big brother, John, was a standout wide receiver defensive back in 2013 and 14. And then Jack Rummel has an older brother who played here, Nick, on the national runner-up. They teamed together last year and ran into their mom, Stephanie, who's going down to get some more merch before the game today. Got to get the stuff with the NCAA national semifinal logos on there.
No doubt.
She said the big brother, Nick, is in the stands watching little brother and all of his former teammates. On 3rd down and 2, it looks like the Riverhawks defense holds.
And again, a defender in the backfield has a chance to get a TFL and get off the field, but couldn't make the tackle. And that's kind of how it's been for this defense. When they're in position, they're not making the plays as they make themselves available. If Central stays on the field, possesses the football, and continues to move it.
So after the big play by Drew Robinson, their 2-time captain at linebacker, Susquehanna will use a timeout as North Central looked like it was going to go for it on 4th and 1.
Their first time out of the half.
Big 4th down and 1. North Central has its offense back on the field under the direction of Luke Lehnen, who already has thrown 3 touchdown passes today. Going to keep it on the ground. Big collision, but with enough surge up the middle, we've got a first down. 2-yard pickup. That'll move the chains.
Yeah, and I don't even think a defender made the tackle. I think
Charles
Coleman ran to the back of his own lineman, and he took the business into that collision.
For a player injury.
Well, he's a Division II Minnesota State transfer. We've talked about the fact that he's 6'3", 216, and at this level, Coleman really stands out. He is so big, but when you run in to the backside of your own offensive lineman, that can be a problem. And so it looked like he ran up the back of Ryan Kennelly, all 317 pounds of it.
Yeah, in short yardage situations, you see this happen a lot because the runner is looking to get behind his pads, not dance in the hole, and take on whoever shows up in the hole, but unfortunately it was his own player.
Now, I know it's still middle of the 2nd quarter, but at what point, with the way this game has gone, if you're North Central head coach Brad Spencer, do you start thinking about getting some of my key players out of the football game? I'm not advocating for it, but it's got to be in the back of your mind as you just saw your quarterback pick up a little limp, and now one of your running backs slow to get up.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. I think 28 points we're not there yet. Certainly we're still in the first half. And crazy things have happened. You don't come this far just to come this far. You want to go ahead and keep your foot on the gas and get to the championship game. So I think we're not there yet. So I think the pedal stays down until you get more touchdowns, and then you take a look at what the score is in halftime, and then you make those decisions.
Good to see Coleman walk off. This is his 26th career game since transferring from Minnesota State. In 26 games, he has 26 touchdowns.
How about that? And he has another year of eligibility.
And he's just another one of their running backs. Lehnen throws a dart, got a man. Inside the 10-yard line, tackled inside the 5-yard line. And once again, it's going to be first down and goal after a 50-yard pickup from Lehnen to Sacco out of the backfield.
Yeah, I think that might have been the old wheel route. You get your back one-on-one with a linebacker, that's a mismatch, folks. And if there's enough time for the quarterback to throw an accurate ball, which there was, that's an easy pitch and catch down the field.
That goes for 49 yards officially, so first and goal from the 4-yard line.
First and goal at the 3.
Nowhere to run for Joe Sacco that time. That's going to be a loss of 4 on the play. Brian Layton once again coming up from his defensive tackle position. He's the leader of this defensive front from Susquehanna.
Yeah, and he's happy to be playing in the playoffs. He missed the playoffs 2 years ago due to injury, but he's healthy now, and he's a guy that makes a lot of plays. He showed up a lot when you watch the defensive tape. Hasn't been as effective today. Again, he's going against the best group in the country, and that has something to do with it.
Second and goal from the 7. Lehnen gives to Sacco right up the middle into the end zone. Touchdown. Joe Sacco missed a couple of games earlier this year with injury, limped off the field last week, and was questionable for today. But last year's Division III national rushing leader, when he gained over 1,800 yards, certainly looks like he's 100% here today.
Yeah, and you're 5'10", 186. You can run short yardage with a guy that size because look at the surge of red up the middle. No one shows up in white because they're being blocked, and they're not getting off the blocks, and it makes it really easy to run a dive play for about 8 or 9 yards.
As Reineck boots the PAT, which is good. Here's an illustration of the toughness of Joe Sacco. Last year in the Stag Bowl loss to Cortland, he rushed for 157 yards despite a broken pelvis.
That's legendary stuff.
So a little rolled ankle here, a little bump and a bruise there is not going to stop that young man.
Yeah, that means nothing. He doesn't even feel that type of stuff. Again, came in averaging 7.8 a rush. That's getting it done.
Second team all-conference, starting running back before his injury, back in a starting role today. It's now 35-0.
So he's averaging over 8 yards a carry. He's got 2 touchdowns on only 8 carries.
Is that good?
That's extremely good. But again, you could catch maybe a couple yards running up in the middle. Maybe behind this offensive line.
Well, the offensive coordinator, Eric Studeman, has a embarrassment of riches. In his 6th year on staff, he was a record-setting tight end here at North Central himself, a 4-year starter, 1-year teammate of Brad Spencer, who actually hosted Eric in his recruiting visit to North Central. And Studeman, the offensive coordinator, has Division I experience at Mississippi State under Dan Mullen, now the new head coach at UNLV after leaving ESPN last week. Studeman was both an assistant strength coach and assistant to the offensive coordinator. This is Howes. Cut down at the 23-yard line.
Well, they were really hoping to get more out of this return game. They've been dynamic in this phase, and that hasn't shown up for Susquehanna today either.
Not at all. So again, the familiarity of this homegrown staff from Brad Spencer on down. And in talking to Coach Spencer earlier this week and a couple of years ago, and you had this team last year, it comes up repeatedly in how it helps them in recruiting and in terms of the terminology and allowing for the players to prosper underneath this very familiar coaching staff that dates all the way back to John Thorne who was the head coach who got it all going, turned it over to his son Jeff Thorne, who then turned it over to Brad Spencer. The continuity here has been a really big piece of how this Cardinals program has sustained greatness over the years.
Yeah, no question about it. And in an era where it's hard to build and keep culture, a program like this has no problems because of everything you saw on that screen. I mean, these are guys who played here, who have a deep love for this place. They come back and coach them up, and it just becomes a self-perpetuating cycle of culture building, and that turns into wins if you got enough talent, and they had plenty of that.
2nd down and 9. Lamont splits out. Ehrlich goes down, sacked at the 18-yard line. A 6-yard loss. Jacob Vincent, sophomore defensive end from Salina, Texas, coming up now with 5.5 sacks on the year.
When the pressure is consistent, the quarterback begins to feel it even when it doesn't come. And that time right there, Josh Ehrlich saw some ghosts. He's been used to getting hit. When he tries to go to the second read, that time there was no hit coming, but he felt like it was, and that kind of derailed that entire pass play.
You had 29 NFL sacks, is that right?
That's
How many at Penn State?
24.5, second all time when I left.
What's that feeling like, what we just saw for Jacob Vincent?
For a defensive line, it's like scoring a touchdown. It's amazing.
3rd and long, Ehrlich. His receiver fell down and the pass is intercepted. Everything going North Central's way. Set up now at the 15-yard line after the pick and return by Braden Garrison, despite having a club on his hand.
Yeah, so right now the Riverhawks are checking off every box of what could go wrong. We've seen the wide receivers drop a pass. We've seen the quarterback a little bit off. We've seen the offensive line struggle. This time it's just bad luck, right? This time it's just your receiver falls down and against zone coverage, and your defensive back sees the ball being thrown and goes up and makes a play with no receiver and catches the football with a big old cast on his hand. So big up, getting your 4th interception of the year, even when your hand's wrapped up.
Out of Providence Catholic High School from Lamont, Illinois. Braden Garrison missed the last 3 regular season games with that right hand injury, but in the playoffs he has stepped right back into his starting safety spot and now sets up the offense with a short field. Lehnen gonna run it. It's a 1st down, and it is a touchdown for now. A flag comes down.
Late flag.
Near the goal line, and I'm guessing the play will come back.
That time we saw that 22-mile-an-hour speed right there, turning that corner from Lehnen.
Yeah, they said 22.2 miles an hour on one of his long touchdown runs.
Yeah, and look, on my street it's only a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, so I don't even go that fast sometimes when I'm driving home.
Well, you live in one of those gated, fancy communities where I'm surprised they let you go that fast.
Stop it.
Speed bumps and all of that.
Right.
Well, it might have been Thomas Susquehanna on the edge. Let's get the call and see.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 8. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
So not Susquehanna, it was Rummel, the sophomore from Gilbert's, Illinois.
One of the few mistakes. Let's see what we get here. Oh, yeah, easy call. Didn't have to do it. He could have just stood there. That's one of those situations where you just want to stand there and be a wall. And that's the first offensive penalty, but you never want to see a penalty take a touchdown off the board.
After the penalty, 1st and 10 at the 16.
On 1st down.
Look at the time.
All day for Lehnen, directing traffic, finds another wide open receiver, and it's another touchdown from 16 yards out. Jacob Parody in the end zone all by himself, and the lead continues to grow 41-0. So he is now, with his 4 touchdown passes today, he has tied Braxton Plunk's career Division III record of 158 touchdown passes. Plunk played for Mount Union. That's the team awaiting the winner of this game in the Stag Bowl.
So he rolls out and does a throwback. You're asking for a lot of time. Obviously, his offensive line gives it to him. And Parody gets lost in the shuffle.
Reineck with another point after, 42-0 Cardinals.
Oftentimes, Doug, you'll see guys roll out and trying to look for a tight end in that situation. Well, in this offense, they're looking for throwbacks to the receivers.
And there you see, Plunk now has company. Lehnen has passed both Tanny and Plunk here this afternoon, and we've still got time on the clock in the first half.
So let's take a look at this replay. Again, it starts with the time. You see the receiver, he's number 3 on the inside slot. He's matched up. They play in cover 1 with a safety in the hole. And we got this much time, you got to play past Plaster, stay with your guy, but he falls down. So again, we've seen receivers fall down for Susquehanna. Now you see a DB falls down. And when you have that much time, Lehnen is going to find the open man. That's what he does better than anyone else. The guy is just a flat-out winner. And he didn't drop the layup and threw a bad ball when the guy's wide open.
The field conditions are perfect. It is a cold day here, and the snow that this area received yesterday, a couple of inches, pushed to the side, and the turf should give him good footing. But you're right, we've seen more than one Riverhawk go down.
No question. How about this guy Lehnen, though? I mean, he's already graduated. He graduated in 2023. Degree in exercise science. He's now pursuing a master's in sports leadership. I mean, he's getting it done on the field, off the field, in the classroom.
He's been famous for almost 20 years. He was on the local news almost 20 years ago, making a touchdown as a first grader playing flag football. Luke Lehnen, remember the name. He might wind up on an NFL roster someday or in a Major League Baseball uniform. You just don't know.
And don't think it can't happen. I mean, even in D3, there have been guys who've made it in the NFL.
And you know what? It's so refreshing. We've alluded to it. The idea that Luke Lehnen at this level stays in one spot for his entire career.
Right.
Not looking to move up to D2 or to D1.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that they don't have thoughts about it, but at least at this point, the culture of Division III football largely is just like the traditional model in Division I that we're accustomed to.
Sure, and a lot of these smaller D3 schools.
Personal foul, illegal low block, return team, number 3. Penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal. It's 1st and 10.
DK Weich, one of the backup running backs out of York, Pennsylvania, with a penalty.
But to finish the thought, though, a lot of D3 schools are excellent academic institutions. And so a lot of times these young men come here and they're big fish in a small pond and they're getting a quality education. And then again, and you look at a guy like Lehnen, he's going to leave with a master's and an undergrad degree. I mean, it just doesn't get him, and playing really high-level football and a chance to win a national championship. I mean, it just is checking all the boxes by staying. And if you go somewhere else, who knows? The grass isn't always as green, and we know that as guys our age, it isn't always green on the other side.
And oh, by the way, he's married. We didn't even talk about that yet. He got married to his high school sweetheart, Jillian, over the summer.
The nurse.
Lamons, the first year out of the Tutnell School in Delaware, gain of 4. The tackle by J.P. Sullivan. They're the newlyweds. They met in elementary school, didn't start dating until high school, and couldn't wait until after college, at least for Luke, his wife Jillian, as you said. Well, she's a nurse, works locally in the overnight shift, so Luke told us she was going to be here, but probably a little groggy today. Only a couple hours sleep before coming. Well, her husband is living up to expectations. Ehrlich.
Wow, nice play.
Dumped. Danny Nuccio, senior from Plainfield, Illinois.
Yeah, Nuccio's coming off an MCL. We get a timeout by North Central, but he's healthy now.
North Central.
He's
first time
one.
out of the half.
He's another one who's not going to put his sleeves on.
Yeah.
Despite temperatures in the 20s.
Well, he's playing with his hair on fire. That's why he doesn't feel that cold.
No
Are you
doubt.
kidding me?
No doubt. 6', 221 senior from Plainfield North High School. Missed a couple of months, late September to late November. Has played the last 3 games, but like you said, it was an MCL injury. Some friendly fire that he took. But we have seen his fire on a couple of occasions today, making big plays and really trying to fire himself up and his teammates up.
And he showed up big last week against Springfield, had 10 tackles.
Yeah.
In a TFL. So, I mean, this guy's a playmaker. So they're getting healthy at a couple key spots as if they needed more firepower, because they don't. But they're hitting on all cylinders at the right time late in the year. It's all coming together.
And Susquehanna just cannot get anything going. They are 0 for 6 on 3rd downs. and the average has been 3rd and 8. And what do you know? They're facing 3rd and 9 here.
Yeah, and this is tough because this is when the pass rush has been unleashed. We saw Egbo with a nice speed rush the last time they were in this situation. So look at the bottom of your screen, number 9, getting in that three-point stance. If you want to get this pass off, you better get him blocked.
Here they come, sending 6. Ehrlich gets rid of the football. A diving attempt at a catch, but the ball squirts free. Incomplete. Michael Robbins, the intended receiver. And his best friend and roommate is slow to get up. The quarterback, J.T. Ehrlich, took a shot and is holding that left arm.
So North Central bought 6, and here is the hit late.
For player injury.
And that's a little too late, in my opinion. I mean, it wasn't the worst hit I've ever seen, but it was obviously in the wrong spot. But I thought that was a little late, Doug. Especially the way we protect quarterbacks, and they're very vulnerable in that situation. I think a flag should have came out on that one now. Glad to see him get up and walk off on his own power.
I mentioned his mom, Kendall. His dad, Bob, is the former governor of the state of Maryland. He was Governor Ehrlich from 2003 to 2007. And I'm sure mom and dad are happy to see their boy come off.
Really surprised the flag didn't come out on that one.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm not a big lover of quarterbacks as a former guy who chased them, but yeah, that one deserved a flag.
Jacob Parody standing at midfield, awaiting the punt. Do you dislike punters and kickers more than quarterbacks, or quarterbacks more than punters and kickers?
You know the answer to that. Stop playing. We've been doing this too long together. Punters and kickers do absolutely nothing in practice but drink Gatorade. And I never liked that.
Nice sliding catch to receive the punt by Parody. Well, the time of possession, and it even feels like it's more than that. But Susquehanna has not been able to sustain any of its drives, and North Central has just chewed up yardage so effortlessly every single time they've had the football.
Yeah, the time of possession is a problem. They're 66% on 3rd down. Everything that Susquehanna said we had to do well in order to have a chance to win has not materialized.
And so Jillian's husband, Luke Lehnen, back on the field with 2:32 remaining in this first half. Up the middle, Joe Sacco putting together a huge afternoon already.
One of the things I like about Sacco, he's a no-nonsense runner. He's the type of runner that offensive linemen love to block for, but he made a nice little subtle move in the hole, but never stopped going forward. A lot of times guys make moves, they start to go east and west, and offensive linemen hate that. Make your move and get right back upfield, and he does a great job there.
10 carries, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day for Sacco. It's another chunk play down near the 10-yard line as Skopna comes up with the catch. We have reached the 2-minute timeout. 42-0 in this Division III national semifinal. The NCAA football championships continue with the Division III championship next week as we continue play under 2 minutes remaining in this second quarter. And again, the Stag Bowl is the Division III national championship game that North Central has become a regular at getting to. They've won a couple of national titles, one in 2019, one in 2022. They lost last year in the championship game, and they are well on their way to getting back to the Stag Bowl. A running touchdown by Luke Lehnen, 11 yards, and the beat goes on.
Well, first of all, I don't like the fact that they started playing while you in the middle of your read.
We had a promo.
Somebody got, I mean, my goodness. I mean, they're that aggressive. But again, more of the same. You are running now zone reads, quarterback keeper, and there's nobody on the end of the line of scrimmage to stop the quarterback because he's flat-footed. You got to get up the field and cut off this quarterback before he gets going because Luke Lehnen is too fast to keep your feet locked on the ground.
Well, we will find out January 2nd if he is, for the second year in a row, the best player by vote in the country in Division III. Won last year's Gallardi Trophy, it certainly would appear that he is the front runner, the favorite to win it again this year.
Look, I looked around at the stats because I haven't seen a lot of D3 football this year. And so I couldn't find anybody statistically that's in the same category. And now to see him live and what he's doing, you got to remember, this Susquehanna team is a very good football team. I mean, they haven't lost on the road in, 3 years?
3 years.
I mean, look what's happening. They're being dismantled right in front of our eyes, not because they came in and laid down. I mean, this is a very explosive offense, and the trigger man is number 5, Luke Lehnen, and he always seems to make the right decision, and he never puts the ball at risk, which is the number one thing that a quarterback must possess.
And if he wins the big prize again this year, that'll be the 4th time in the last 5 years of football that the Ghilardi Trophy has resided here in Naperville, Illinois. Brock Rutter, his predecessor at quarterback, did go and get an opportunity to play for the San Francisco 49ers in the preseason. Ethan Greenfield, what a running back he was. And then Lehnen, with his record-setting performance for the last couple of years, has been the dominant player on the dominant team in Division III football.
And the Ghilardi Trophy description is the award to the most outstanding NCAA Division III football player and recognize excellence in athletics, academics, and community service. Sounds like Luke Lehnen to me, but we'll see.
There is number 5. 5 finalists announced earlier this week, with Lehnen presumably the leader. 4 quarterbacks, and then Robert Corey, the only defensive player from Carnegie Mellon.
Wait a minute now. 4 out of 5 quarterbacks.
Hey, you know how it goes.
I do know how it goes, and I always hate how it goes. The quarterbacks get the prettier girls, make the most money, and get the biggest trophies.
Oh, my God. All right, Tommy Wright has come into the game. He hands it off to Lamons, his biggest pickup of the day. It's a first down. So J.T. Ehrlich, who was banged up a few moments ago, is out as quarterback for Susquehanna. Tommy Wright, sophomore from Havertown, Pennsylvania, 6'3", 205 pounds, who has gotten a lot of play this year. This is his 12th game appearance in now 14 games for the Riverhawks.
You know, he's just a sophomore, like you said, and they expect both of these quarterbacks to be back. So I like the idea of getting him some experience in the playoffs, and you saw just a taste of Lamons' explosiveness on that last run.
Well, he misses his intended target. Their pass was too low. Wright's best performance came on October 12th against Keystone, 5 of 10 for 88 yards and a touchdown. And his first pass is incomplete, trying to keep those hands warm on a chilly day here in the Chicago suburbs.
He only got 1 play in 2023. So he needs this experience going forward.
House motions to the top of your screen. Lamons. Well, there's only a minute plus left, but if Susquehanna can come up with any sort of points, something positive to take the locker room, they've had nothing to this point.
And look, this is as cliche as it gets, but there is a thing called pride. And, you know, in the NFL, we call it professional pride, but in college, we just call it good old-fashioned pride. You know, and right now, obviously, they're getting licked. But you never want to roll over. You got to keep playing, because playing college football is still a privilege, not a right.
2 timeouts in pocket for Susquehanna, but they let the clock run. Big hit on Wright, who unleashes it, and the pass was dropped by Morganroth. What a delivery by Tommy Wright under big-time pressure.
Yeah, that was good stuff right there. But this is, again, indicative of how this day is gone. Took it in the chops, delivered a catchable ball. Make that. It's not an easiest catch in the world. No, it's a sort of a look over the shoulder. But I guarantee you that Morganroth has made that play in practice a dozen times. And that's the type of play that hasn't been made by the Riverhawks all day.
And we should note number 92, J.P. Sullivan, was the one who applied the pressure, the co-defensive player of the year, who, quote, destroys offenses. J.P. said, my goal is to get knocked back every play. Ball's loose on the turf. Looks like the Riverhawks recover it, but it's a big loss on 4th down.
And I think that was Garrigan, who's putting together an incredible first half, doing a little bit of everything. Watch number 25 get lost on this red dog blitz. No one picks him up, and he delivers the hit that you want on a quarterback that's trying to deliver the ball, and he separates that quarterback from the ball.
Rowan Hershey able to cover the football. Yeah, why is it called a red dog blitz?
So he has no coverage responsibility. A green dog is when you're blitzing, and if a guy goes out in a pattern, you peel off and go with them.
Okay.
When it's just straight blitz, you're going after the quarterback regardless of what they do offensively. We call that a red dog.
Red dog, I like that. Wasn't that sort of like your NFL nickname?
No, that was more dirty dog.
Something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. You know, my memory's not great.
8-yard pickup. And so another opportunity for the Cardinals to add to their lead. They look like they want to score now under 10 seconds remaining. They get the play off and are going to run it with Joe Sacco. That is a first down run, but it is the end of a first half completely dominated by the champions out of the college conferences of Illinois and Wisconsin. 13-0 North Central, now 30 minutes away from going back to the Stag Bowl.
I don't know if we watched a perfect first half because there were a couple of mistakes made, but it was darn near perfect.
It's the end of the first half.
And so right now, this is as bad as it gets for Susquehanna, but you got to come out, find a way to respect the game and play it out.
Lehnen near perfect in that first half, running the football, throwing the football. At one point, he completed 15 consecutive passes, including 4 touchdowns. Lehnen's the story. All North Central. We've reached the intermission. Back with our halftime report right after this. You are watching the Division III National Championship semifinal round on ESPN. With Tioga Jackson, I'm Doug Sherman here at North Central College in Chicagoland. And the home team, the Cardinals, with a 49-0 lead, looking to make their way in 2 weeks to Texas for the Stag Bowl and a shot at a possible 3rd national championship in this program's history. When I see football players wearing those overcoats, I think of the 1970s with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
At Three River Stadium, and when the Miami Dolphins or the Oakland Raiders would go into the cold weather, they'd have to bundle up.
John Fusenda.
Yeah, oh yeah.
On NFL Films, right?
Did you get soft in that regard, going from Penn State to some of the warmer weather NFL places, or did you always have the want and ability to play in temperatures like this today?
So you get a little soft, I'll say, but when it's time to go play, you draw back on those experiences of being in cold weather. I played with a lot of guys who grew up in Florida and played their college ball in Florida, and it really affected them when we went to go play places like Green Bay, Chicago late in the season. So, yeah, I think having the opportunity to grow up in that weather or play it in college really serves you well as your career extends.
Not that that has anything to do with the way this game has gone. Susquehanna is from the middle of the state of Pennsylvania. They know all about cold weather. It just has not been their day so far. They will start the second half with the football. On the return, Rashawn Lamons, the 2024 Landmark Conference Rookie of the Year, first team all-conference running back, who was largely held in check by this terrific North Central defense in that first half.
Yeah, and it's been disappointing because I think that was one of the guys that you could say no matter what, he was going to be the equalizing factor for the Susquehanna team offensively specifically. So he just hadn't been able to get out and get loose and show off that fantastic speed he has.
Well, the FCS schools dropped off due to his height. He picked Susquehanna over Mount Olive. He was also recruited along with his best friend and teammate Micah Stamper, defensive back who is injured, but that was part of Tom Perkovich and his staff's sail to get this talented number 28 who's alongside the backup quarterback Tommy Wright. In for the injured Josh Ehrlich. We have not gotten any report on JT Ehrlich, but he was apparently injured late in that second quarter and replaced then by Wright. And on the other side, we've not gotten any report on North Central running back Charles Coleman, who left the game with an upper body injury in that first half. He did walk off under his own power. And there are the stats today for Ehrlich. Ineffective against this terrific defense. Wright hoping for better numbers. And how about Lamons getting popped and thrown back? And once again, number 33, Danny Nuccio's in the middle of it among his defensive teammates.
Yeah, and Adam Chick was there as well. And it's been very impressive because so often there's been 2 defenders at the point of attack. I mean, that's one thing to try to ask the freshman to break the tackle of Nuccio, but then also Adam Chick with him, that's a little too much to ask. So these defenders are not getting blocked on the second level, and that's really what has corralled Lamont all day.
Yeah, the coaches say B.J. Adamczyk is the heart of our defense. He is the standard. Captain, three-time first-team all-conference linebacker. Passed by Wright, incomplete.
And I think that ball was tipped. I do, because that came out with a different trajectory out of his hand than where that ended on the ground. I think a tip pass may have caused that incompletion. But again, open receiver just can't connect. They've been so close, but yet so far in a lot of these plays that has stalled their drives.
Mike Wyan, the offensive coordinator, in his 7th year, welcoming the backup quarterback Tommy Wright to the sideline. You always ask when we have our meetings with the coordinators, if you're in a back alley, well, they let you ask it. How do you ask the question?
Well, yeah, and as we see the punt going off here and a fair catch being called. But I always say, if you're in an alley, a dark alley, and you got to take one guy with you because you know he's going to fight himself and you out of that situation and come out alive, who do you take? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I want to know who the tone setter is in practice.
Yep.
Who's the guy that when things aren't going great, he's going to light the team up by getting physical with his own team in practice and doesn't take any crap off anybody else in games?
And you almost always get a great answer, but we got a unique one from Mike Wyan the other day. He said, I wouldn't need any help. I was a linebacker.
That was the first. No coaches ever said that, but you know, linebackers are a little different now.
Well, he was hired in 2018, the day before training camp at Susquehanna, and has worked his way up the ranks to become Tom Perkovich's right-hand man. Allen with a run for 4 yards. And for the Riverhawks, Wyan has taken over all the play calling this year.
Yeah, and, but back to the him saying I don't need anybody. It was such a great answer that I don't even remember who he named as his dark alley guy.
No,
because he took it over. But
no.
yes,
he looks like a linebacker.
Yeah, he does.
Back at East Stroudsburg, class of 2018. Still a young guy. I bet you he can get out there and mix it up. In his mind, he certainly can.
No doubt.
Well, he is the right-hand man of the head coach Tom Perkovich in his 10th year, second winningest coach in Riverhawks football program history. And they are trying to salvage something of the second half. An 8-yard pickup there for Sean Allen and the Cardinals with another first down.
And right from the start, it didn't go well. Even the opening drive where, they had a 3rd and 1. And, had House on a slant, couldn't connect, and things just snowballed from there. They're going to be better days because they got a lot of guys back. And, really, they're a well-coached football team. They don't beat themselves. You don't see a lot of shenanigans, undisciplined stuff. They didn't tackle well today defensively, and they didn't make the plays offensively they were supposed to.
First-team offense remains on the field for North Central for at least this first drive of the 3rd quarter. Skokna with the reception, but he is tackled immediately with no yards to pick up because Josh Parson, the graduate linebacker, 5th-year player, came up with a nice stop.
And think about it. That's one of the few times we've seen a Susquehanna defender make a play in space. They usually missing that tackle, a little bit off balance. That was picture perfect, coming to balance, striking and wrapping your arms. And when you do that, more often than not, the ball carrier will go down. Yeah,
Parsons been a nice playmaker this year. 4 interceptions, 5 fumble recoveries, 1 forced fumble, a couple of defensive touchdowns out of Appoquinimink High School in Delaware, making the stop. Nobody's stopping. Once again, it's Jordan Chisholm this time, a big chunk play. Now our 4th running back into the game, effective immediately for the Cards.
Oh, that's really outstanding running. Great vision by Chisholm. But again, I'm going to ask you, watch this replay and show me where a defender shows up that needs to be addressed. There's no one there because there's a hat on the hat, and when they get the blocks, the defenders aren't getting off them in a way that's going to impede the run.
And it's not just the O-linemen, it's the tight ends.
Correct.
It's the wide receivers, and that's a 28-yard gain for the senior from Zion, Illinois, 4th-year Cardinal, who comes into this game. He was 22 yards shy of 1,000. He is now a 1,000-yard rusher, and he's your number 4 running back.
Wow. I mean, that says it all.
Breaking tackles inside the 10-yard line. Chisholm gains 11 yards.
So again, nobody's penetrating the backfield, and then you have one unblocked player who's the alley player, and that's Andrew Wells, who can't make the tackle. So the tackling has been a problem for Susquehanna all day, even when they're in position to make the play.
So now 1st and goal. Do you keep feeding Jordan Chisholm, who has 5 rushing touchdowns this year, 16 for his career?
Yeah, I don't see any reason to throw the football, put Lehnen at risk. It's probably his last drive. You just keep running the football.
That's what they do. It's Allen back into the game, not Chisholm. Touchdown, North Central. A 9-yard strike from the sophomore out of Flossmoor, Illinois.
There is no better security blanket for a play caller than an offensive line. Look at the movement and the walling off. And sure, there was one guy off balance that he had to leap, but other than that, it just aren't defenders showing up because the offensive line, and they don't blow blocks either, though. You know, as much running as they do, they don't fumble the ball and they don't blow blocks.
Sean Reinick with yet another point after, and he remains perfect in that category this year.
Well, usually Cardinals fly to get where they want to go, but today they're using their feet. The Cardinals are running to where they want to go, and where they're going to go appears to be the Stag Bowl.
On this, the shortest day of the year, December 21st, we take a look back at the last 4 Stag Bowls. One common theme: North Central's been there every time, won it twice in 2019 and 2022, and very much looking like they're going to be the opponent for the second time in 3 years to Mount Union, which has already won its semifinal today.
And what's really cool is they're playing their best ball. I mean, think about when you got a lot of wire-to-wire teams. Sometimes teams get bored in the middle of the season or even at the end of the season as it begins to stretch up and down the schedule. They have come out and seemingly played the best 4 quarters, increasingly so every single week. And this is the best I've seen them in the first half for sure of all the tape I watched.
Andre Casas' kick goes through the end zone, and so the Susquehanna offense will come back out. Now, to what you're talking about there, Tyoka, Brad Spencer, the head coach for North Central, you had an extensive conversation with him this week talking about complacency. And he said complacency is the #1 thing you have to guard against.
Yep.
And that clearly has been the case today. No complacency at all for this steamrolling football team.
And he talked about not only complacency with his team, his players, but also with the staff. See, because the staff leads that. If the staff doesn't get complacent and you keep the staff on edge, they'll do their jobs with their individual positions that they coach, and that's what you're seeing right now. They're playing, Doug, like they're going to lose the game at all times, and that's what you want to see from a team who has the athletes, who got it going, who's clicking, but they're playing like they're losing.
Tommy Wright, the quarterback, handing off to Matt Sertz, sophomore back from Robbinsville, New Jersey. One of the cool things I think Brad Spencer has done with his program, as you see his resume, which is just ridiculous here at his alma mater, no Stag Bowl T-shirts around the football complex, meaning, yes, we have been great in the past, but it has nothing to do with today.
He said because that mentality creeps in. Once you allow it to creep in, you get soft. And you don't want to be soft in football, no matter if the way you eat your cereal or the way you work out, the way you get dressed before the game. He talked about we care about keeping our locker room clean, right? We talked about doing what we do all the time at the highest level, the way we come out to practice, our attitude. Again, the way we keep things tidy around the building. We don't let anything creep in. I love that mentality.
And junior defensive lineman J.P. Sullivan, a big part of that. Junior out of Lakes High School, Lake Villa, Illinois. Former high school teammate of North Central legends Ethan Greenfield, D'Angelo Hardy. He has been part of that tone setting as well. And you're right, they have to, in the coach's mind, police even the little things. Got to make sure it doesn't fester, and certainly that seems to be, they're very buttoned up all the way around.
Yeah, and Coach Paterno was like that in a lot of ways when I played at Penn State. When we won, he was screwed the screws in tighter, believe it or not.
Right, intercepted, threw it over the middle right into the hands of Jamar Daniel, the cornerback. We've got a flag behind the return, a couple of flags. But I think the interception is going to stand. Second team all-conference defensive back out of Chicago Heights with the pick.
Yeah, he had a torn labrum last year, and now he's back. And he's a guy they feel like they can match up with the top receiver on the other side. They'll send him and travel him wherever the guy is if he's dynamic enough because they trust his ability to cover that well. And you show right there some great hands. I think this return's coming back, though, because I think he had a couple of legal blocks.
After the change of possession, Illegal block in the back, return team, number 92. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It'll be 1st and 10, North Central.
So the penalty is on John J.P. Sullivan, but it doesn't change the fact that Jamar Daniel has his 3rd interception of the year. Had a pick 6 against WashU back in September. He'll take this one here to set up the offense with a short field.
Timeout.
In last year's Stag Bowl, the D3 National Championship game, North Central met Cortland as the Cardinals were looking to repeat. It was a close game all the way. In the 4th quarter, Cortland's Cole Burgess catches a 21-yard touchdown with under 2 minutes left to take a 7-point lead. Then on the next drive, North Central responds with an 60-yard TD by D'Angelo Hardy. Then the Cardinals went for 2, but Luke Lehnen would be stuffed. Cortland would hang on for the 38-37 win, a heartbreaking loss for the Cardinals that has driven them this season to return to win the Stag Bowl. Looks like they're going to get an opportunity. They have gone now to their 2nd-string quarterback, Calvin Lavery, in place of Luke Lehnen, a junior from Quincy, Illinois. In his 2nd year as Lehnen's primary backup, and over 3 years has gotten into now 21 games, 47 of 73 passing. His numbers are good, completes 64% of his passes for nearly 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now he is coming in with 8:04 and change remaining in this 3rd quarter, and I'm guessing he's not going to throw the football all that much.
I'll be surprised, but you know, I mean, you've seen certain things like this happen because, and that's the tough spot for coaches. You got guys like Lavery who work their rear end off all week, all year long, and you put them in the game and you don't let them play, and you know, you figure that's not kind of fair either. But you don't want to disrespect your opponent.
And so they've got Sean Allen back in the game at running back. We have seen Joe Sacco be terrific. Charles Coleman, in limited opportunities before getting hurt, was productive. Jordan Chisholm on the last possession ran the football. Now back to number 1 in red, Sean Allen.
And now he's running behind backup offensive linemen too. So as you see this thing goes on, North Central is starting to get younger players into the game, less experienced players. You see Isaac Banker there, number 87. Getting these guys valuable experience because this is football, and any one of them is one play away from being someone they counting on to win a championship.
Grant McAtee has come into the game, one of the backup wide receivers for North Central. Allen carries a couple of tacklers to about the 31-yard line, stays in bounds to keep the clock running after a 10-yard gain.
So, you know, thinking about that Stag Bowl, as we take a look at this replay, again, this is backup offensive line play. A little bit of leakage there, but now Allen's showing off his vision and his elusiveness too, though. He's got some quick feet. 5'8", 184 pounds, sophomore. But back to that Stag Bowl, you know, in Houston, it gets a little warm late, right? And you're going to have looks to be two cold weather teams. I'm curious to know how you handle that warmer weather, because when you go from the cold is more about mental toughness, Doug, but when you get into a warmer climate, it's more about the physical toll it takes. You see a lot more cramping. You see a lot more pulls. Guys have to pump the fluids so that they don't get dehydrated. So it's going to be interesting to see if it's warmer than expected in Houston, if that's going to play a part in what happens in that football game.
Jordan Williams, the new running back in, sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida, gains 9 before being tackled by Drew Robinson.
And just to finish the point, it doesn't have to be 80 degrees to be that way.
Right.
You get a cold weather team playing in a 75-degree situation or 70-degree situation, that's when that becomes an issue, right? Because you don't get a lot of pulls and you don't get a lot of dehydration in the cold weather. So guys get used to not having to pump fluids. You get in that game and maybe it's something different.
2nd down and 1. Williams, huge hole up the middle. He's going to walk into the end zone. A 22-yard touchdown run. And North Central just keeps pouring it on, 62-0.
So Williams is now in the game, and you can best believe he wants to keep his 8.1 average up. There's an arm tackle. The backs have been breaking those all day. Another missed tackle, quite out of position. And you got a dejected team in white. With the scoreboard looking like that, I completely understand. But there's a juggernaut in red.
Well, Jordan Williams, with his 4th touchdown run of the season, has an older brother named Jaron, who was a starting safety for NCC last season. He's been unable to play this season due to injury, but his kid brother is on the scoreboard for the Cardinals. The offense for North Central has been dynamic as expected. Luke Lehnen now out of the ball game, near perfect throwing the football, also ran for a touchdown. Cardinals haven't punted the football yet today.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That last line is what I hate the most. You know how I feel about punters. And this is not against Sean Reinick either. Or no, he's the kicker. Who is the punter? See, I don't even know who the punter is.
Dose.
Chip. I'm not hating on you, Chip. But, like, look at that last line. Have not punted. See, this is punters, man. I'm telling you, if you have a kid, don't teach him to be a defensive lineman like me. Teach him to either long snap or punt or kick the football, and he'll have a beautiful life.
Chip Dose is probably going to have a wonderful career outside of football, sophomore from Janesville, Wisconsin, and yet my partner will never warm up to him.
No, unless he does a coffin corner for about 60 yards net. Now I'll show him some love.
But it would be fleeting love.
Very fleeting. And I play with some great kickers, let me just say.
Susquehanna has the football back. Kyle Howes, who we featured off the top. Did the ball come loose? And it looks like it is Riverhawks football. Berkeley Wagner came away with the football.
Again, we talked about this is such an important phase of Susquehanna's team. Their return games, that ball is definitely out. So there's no question he was not down by contact, so that had to be recovered. Just the number on who got it, but a great job of jumping on it.
Yeah, Philip Carlton is the one who knocked it out for North Central, a freshman linebacker from Plainfield, Illinois. And now we have a third-string quarterback, Bobby Croyle, a senior from Percy, Pennsylvania. Rashawn Lamons with the football. Croyle comes out of Penridge High School. This is his 4th game appearance, and he's been near perfect throwing the football, as you see, 12 out of 13. He's part of a senior class that has Tioga a record of 41-5 coming into today.
Yeah, they don't do a lot of losing. This is foreign to them, especially with the scoreboard being as it is. But I like getting everybody in, and I like keeping Lamons in, the freshman, because this is somebody that is going to be a cornerstone of your offense for years to come. And when you're just a teenager, you need to get as much of this experience as possible in the playoffs.
Well, head coach Tom Perkovich thought when they signed Lamons he could be a 4-year starter, but Robinson still had to beat out their incumbent all-conference running back, which he did. There goes Lamons out to the 30-yard line. Tommy Grobowski was a first-team all-conference running back last year for Susquehanna, but this dynamic freshman came in, beat him out in camp, became the starter week 3, and now with Grabowski out injured, it is the Rashawn Lamons show. We just haven't seen it at all of its glory so far today.
And the thing about it, I mean, his first game of his career, of his college career, he won the Landmark Conference Player of the Week. So you know they were making the right decision. I mean, he shredded Juniata College for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 6 carries. So that's confirming what you think about a young player.
Southpaw quarterback Croyle with the connection to Michael Robbins, junior tight end from Glenwood, Maryland. He picks up 9 yards.
I bet you didn't know I had that stat about the Juniata College.
I wasn't listening.
You weren't? Oh, okay. I thought this is a collaborative experience, I thought. Now I'm a little upset now.
What'd you say again?
Yeah.
I heard you. It was great. I knew you'd have it.
You didn't know I would have that. I was pulling some deep. You usually the guy that pulls the deep stuff.
No, that was good.
But when I'm working with you, you up my game, man. I got to go find these stats.
I approve. I like it. With the former Penn State defensive lineman Tioka Jackson, I'm Doug Sherman. Glad you're with us in what has been a long afternoon for the Riverhawks. Came here with dreams of getting to Texas for the Stag Bowl in a couple of weeks, but they are staring at the end of what has been a record-breaking season, 12 wins on the year. Chris Buchter, first time we have called the name of their grad student captain wide receiver, first team all Landmark Conference, and he has been held in check until now.
And he's been a big play receiver for them. He's not the feature guy that Howes is, but he's a guy that stepped up and made plays for them like this. It just wasn't a situation where they had opportunity to win the ball game. So, again, they've had a ton of weapons, and this is not the team that we saw on tape and the team that we've studied. And that is a direct reflection on how good North Central is.
That is the longest play from scrimmage for the Riverhawks today. 25 yards, Buchter from Croyle. Yeah, Buchter, first team all-conference, the yin to Kyle Howe's yang. They've been a marvelous 1-2 punch. Pre-snap penalty here.
More often than not, that's the offense. That's why they're walking back.
Full start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Now that's the senior captain at center, Eli Cantor, two-time first team all-conference, the leader up front for what has been a 12-win team. And that is of note that it pushes them back behind the chains, which they have pretty much been all day long.
All day, yeah. And to be honest, this has been a pretty clean game. You know, the striped shirts haven't had to do a lot, which speaks to how well coached both teams are.
Lamons trying to get to the edge, able to sneak around the corner and get it back to within 10 yards for a first down, out of bounds at the 35.
So I guarantee you the starters of North Central are up off the bench and yelling at these backups to keep this shutout going. There is nothing more satisfying for a defensive player than to shut out your opponent. So I don't care what the scoreboard is. You can best believe it is pressure on the guys in the red shirts to keep, not only just keep the lead or whatever, but to keep the shutout going.
Well, this is the first time today the Riverhawks have been on this side of the 50-yard line. It's their first sustained drive of the game. Croyle on second down, flushed, trying to direct traffic, now just throws the football away. He was immediately under fire from Myron Lewis, a graduate student from Chicago, a solid fourth-year Cardinal, now appearing in his 39th career game.
Yeah, he's only 5'11", but that's the type of stature you want inside because he comes into the building and onto the field with leverage. And low man, that's the way the game's still played. As much innovation as we've seen in this game and changes that we've seen over our careers, Doug.
Low man wins.
Low man still wins.
Yep.
And so I like my D tackles and nose guards in that 5'11" to 6'2" range because they can be explosive and get under people.
Hershey was the motion man.
Nice play.
Caden Hartnett with the play, sophomore from Metamora, Illinois, a biology major.
Look how long his arms are. He's got length.
Is that helpful?
It does. It helps because you're not going to always be in perfect position to intercept the ball. Being in position to make a play on the ball is usually good enough. And if you got long arms, you can reach in and bat the ball away. That's exactly what Hartnett did there. Nice and physical at the catch point.
Yeah, we talk about catch radius for the wide receivers and the tight ends. It works for everybody.
Correct. There's a PBU radius for DBs.
Yep.
Pass break up if you're scoring at home.
On fourth down, Croyle fires into coverage, nearly intercepted. It was Angelo Cusimano who looked like he had a shot at what would have been his 7th career interception.
You know a defensive coordinator and his staff has his defense ready because it just seems like on so many plays, there's like 12 and 13 guys in red playing defense. I assure you it's not. But again, 2 guys there to make a play on his ball. They kind of break it up from each other. But that's when you know the preparation was elite all week. The guys have studied and bought in, and they're seeing exactly what their coaches prepared them to see, and they're making plays out there. And now even the backups are. Yeah,
he had a couple of pick sixes last year, Cusimano did, and it was him and his backup at middle linebacker, Mike Janiak, who were converging on that play. So they get the stop on fourth down and run the football with Jordan Williams once again up the middle.
Now, Jordan Williams is from Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
And look at those sleeves. They're sleeveless. You know what that is, don't you? That's culture. So you get around all these tough guys, right, that play in the code and you buy in. I guarantee you, right, when he first got on campus, this weather was cold for him, right? But he's learned to buy into the mentality that the elements don't mean anything. I like it to see a Florida boy out here in this cold weather with no sleeves.
Out of Paxton High School in Jacksonville. Now, that's North Florida.
Well, please. It's 70 degrees in Jacksonville right now. Are you kidding me? Stop it.
Good, tough running right there for a first down.
Now, I went with sleeves when I played in the cold weather. I wasn't trying to be a tough guy. I wanted to play tough, not look tough. He's doing both.
End of the third quarter as the sleeveless Jordan Williams has taken the baton for this tremendous ground game for the North Central Cardinals. The NCAA football championships continue with the Division III National Championship. Sunday, January 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. For more information, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. With Tioka Jackson, Doug Sherman with you here in Naperville, Illinois. It's Benedetti Worley Stadium, where North Central College has not lost a football game in 6 years. We had a fumble and a change of possession on the first play from the fourth quarter.
Just a bad snap. And this is what happens when you put in backup players who haven't necessarily played together. A lot of these guys are giving looks to the ones as a scout team guy. And this is what you get this type of experience for. Because like I said, this is football. One play away and you're in the game, so we need to see what you can do when the lights are brightest. That
was the starting star or Sam linebacker, Jesse Roosh, first team all-conference with a fumble recovery, giving the football back to the Riverhawks. And that, by the way, was the first time North Central has possessed the football today, Tioka, without scoring a touchdown.
That's right. So they had a nice little streak going. That has ended. You see backup running back Matt Sertz coming to the ball game. Guy who's had a very impressive season playing behind the freshman. He's rushed for 8.5 a carry. So again, you know, and he's just a sophomore. So
yeah.
They're going to be fine down the road. They're going to learn from this. There's another level from this Susquehanna program, and I wouldn't be shocked if they hit it next year.
Robbins in motion, give it back to Sertz. His best game so far this year as a sophomore, that Juniata game you were all over. Back in the middle of October, 135 yards on just 8 carries.
Yeah, and they had 200-yard rushes in that game. Had it clicking on the ground.
Well, again, this is a Susquehanna program under the direction of Tom Perkovich that has had a couple of NFL draft picks, not in recent time. Go back to Blair Eaton, who was an end for the 1942 Lions, and then Don Green, a halfback drafted by the Baltimore Colts in 1964. More recently, their superstar wide receiver back in the early 2000s had a shot with the Philadelphia Eagles, never got into a regular season game, but the impression Mark Bartosik had on this program, he's the only player in college football history at all levels, 4 straight years with 1,000 yards receiving in each season. So he had a shot, and there are a couple of the Susquehanna players who might get an opportunity down the road, but you're right, at 12-1, having won 10 straight football games, for only the second time in this program's history getting to the national semifinals, regardless of the final score, which is going to hurt. This has been a record-setting achievement this year for Susquehanna. Going forward on 4th down and 2. And the backups for North Central say no way. Sertz is denied on 4th down.
Great stop. And then we talked about how important it is to preserve this shutout. You didn't see it, but the sidelines went crazy. North Central continues to dominate.
63-0 North Central over Susquehanna. Early 4th quarter with Tioka Jackson. I'm Doug Sherman. Cardinals with the football. Luke Lehnen long out of the ball game after he and the first team offense put up impressive numbers. No surprise running the football with the backup quarterback Calvin Lavery and a 63-point lead. Just 2 yards on the gain. Bring up 2nd down and 8. Jordan Williams, our 5th running back we have seen come in. The next would be Donovan McNeil, a freshman from Gurnee, Illinois. And we'll see how far Brad Spencer and the offensive coordinator Eric Studeman go.
And McNeil's only had 43 carries, but how about a 10.7 average, though?
Yeah, everybody seems to get average.
Everybody eats.
7, 8, 9 yards a touch. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
And so Williams, one of those guys, number 30 in red, takes the handoff, lowers his head, and gets stood up at around the 35-yard line, surges forward. Well, North Central well on its way to a 5th consecutive Stag Bowl. And this is a program, as we talked about, under Brad Spencer that just continues to stack remarkable seasons. His 21st year on staff at his alma mater. He was the wide receivers coach and offensive coordinator from 2015 to 2021 and replaced Jeff Thorne. And Jeff moved on to a higher level job, and it's been seamless since Spencer took over.
No question about it. And in a situation like this, if you're Brad Spencer, the coaching is not over. As you put these backups in, you're trying to see clean execution and continuing of the standard. And obviously, Jordan Williams is going to come in and do his part with hard, tough running, as all these backs have done.
Well, in addition to our conversation in the third quarter about avoiding complacency for NCC, the first thing they do every day, they work on ball security, blocking, and tackling.
Yeah. Every
day, regardless of what they've been doing on the field in games.
The fundamentals of football. I mean, that's what that is, the fundamentals of football. And as much as you run the football here, ball security is huge. You can't be putting the ball on the ground and expect to play for this program. And this turnover margin is one of the top in the country, top 20 in the country, and they're plus 14 in turnover margin. So they care about creating turnovers and hanging on to the football.
Hey, this is Chip Dose getting his first opportunity to punt.
Okay, here we go.
Got a flag down before Chip can do his thing.
Oh, now see.
Delay of game.
Icing
Offense. Number 45. 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
Come on, Chip. I believe in you, bro.
Don't believe his sarcasm.
Listen, he's been over there. It's not easy to come in cold. He's been standing over there in 20-degree weather. See him loosen up them hamstrings, 6'2", 238 pounds. He's a thick punter, right? So you better be ready. Now, you're going to come and try to block that kick. He'll put a hurting on you.
Sophomore from Janesville, Wisconsin, standing at his own 18-yard line, not knowing he's being ridiculed from the booth.
And I knew his name the whole time. I was just joking when I said I didn't know the punter. You believe me, right? I was just joking earlier. Chip, come on, bro. Forcing a fair catch. Made it exciting.
North Central says it has the football. After it landed, it must have hit a Riverhawk if indeed it's recovered by North Central.
Yeah, that's North Central football.
And to the sideline, to a hero's welcome, comes Chip Dose.
So Chip comes in and says the standard has been set. I'm going to do. That's it. Point it, Chip. I love it.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was touched by the return man, recovered by the kicking team. 1st down, North Central.
When it's going great, Doug Sherman, it goes great for everybody, including the punters. I love it.
Number 45 having some fun after standing on the sidelines idle for 2.5 hours.
So you got to walk. You're walking away from the ball. You got to run away. Guys got to get away. There's a Peter call, right? Peter. The receiving team has to scatter away from the ball because we don't know where it's going to hit. That thing is oblong. It can bounce and go anywhere. Got to get away from the football.
Looked like it was Steven Seibert, backup Will linebacker. We've got another flag down on the 1st down carry.
I talked about earlier how clean this game was. Now here comes the laundry as we get late. The concentration is starting to fall from both teams. I promise you, both of these staffs do not want these players to get sloppy as we get later and later into the end of this ball game. Got to keep up the standard.
Here comes the call, I believe.
You got our attention. Undivided.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. It's a 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
Well, we didn't get the guilty party's number, but North Central gets that much closer to adding to its 63-0 lead, and that will not make Tom Perkovich and company all that happy. Former all-star offensive lineman at Canisius College in Buffalo. He's from the Buffalo area in Tonawanda and played 2 sports for the Golden Griffins. All Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Also played basketball as a walk-on. That pass incomplete through the hands of Trey Madsen. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Was so impressed talking to Coach Perk. Just really easy to see why he's had so much success. Again, talking about culture as well, his standards that he's bringing to this program.
And it was interesting talking to him about giving up the play calling responsibilities. You could see how much he loves that. Had it at Muhlenberg and has had it as a head coach here at Susquehanna, but he trusts his offensive coordinator so much that he gave it up this year.
Yeah, he had it for 9 seasons. And he said it wasn't easy, but he knew in order to get to the next level as a head coach, he had to delegate.
Said Mike Wyand is much more aggressive than he was as a play caller, and it was neat as Jordan Williams runs the football, that as the head coach, you've got other things you're thinking about than if you're just the offensive coordinator. So the mindset between a head coach calling the plays and an OC calling the plays was different.
Yeah, I thought that was fascinating, just to give us an idea of what goes through the mind of a head coach on the sidelines. He understands that he's got to be worried about the defense, he's got to be worried about the special teams, and that might leak in to the call he makes offensively. And so he has come to understand that, hey, when I gave that up, I see now an OC who's only worried about the offense, and I see a DC who's worried about the defense, and I can be a head coach and worry about all of it and be the glue that keeps it together. But let them do their jobs to the best of their ability for their unit.
Big hit by Steven Seibert as Jordan Williams was going down. Ball security to bring up 4th down. There's no way Williams is going to try and put that on the carpet. The other thing about Coach Perk I couldn't believe, so again, he grew up in Tonawanda, which is in the Buffalo metropolitan area. He is not a member of the Bills Mafia. He grudgingly acknowledged that he's a Packers fan and takes a lot of grief from all of his friends and family. Because if you live in Western New York, you've got to be a Bills fan.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. That shows me, though, he's got some temerity. I mean, he can stand up on his own. He's got a toughness to him and boldness to him.
Chip Dose on for the hold. Andre Casas with the kick that goes through the uprights, but we've got Laundry on the field.
Now,
it's a 38-yard field goal if it stands.
I hope it stands, because I want to give this a Chip. I want to call this a Chip Dose drive. I mean, he started off with his punt that turned it over, and then he made the hold for the other kicker to kick it. I don't know what his name is, the kicker. I don't pay attention to kickers.
I told you it's Andre Casas.
I knew
Offside.
that. Just testing you.
Defense. A penalty has declined. Field goal is good.
So there you go. The MVP 4th quarter of Chip Dose continues.
That was your drive, Chip. Stand up tall, bro.
Half the field for this year's Stag Bowl is all set, with Mount Union defeating Johns Hopkins earlier today in the first semifinal. They are awaiting the winner of our game for the Stag Bowl January 5th, 8 o'clock on ESPN, and it's fait accompli here with 8:22 remaining. It'll be North Central in a rematch against Mount Union from a couple of years ago.
Better say that's 2 blue bloods?
Yeah.
I mean, Mount Union's probably the biggest brand in D3 football. Would you agree?
Certainly seems like it. They are deep in the tournament every single year.
Yeah. North Central has established themselves as a powerhouse, so blue bloods, chalk.
No surprise, as the #1 team in the country, undefeated, looking to go to 14-0 and extend the home field winning streak to 37 straight games, has been in complete control. It's been dominance right from the first snap of the football.
On both sides.
On both sides.
And in every phase, because the coverage, they were worried about the coverage unit against this outstanding return team of Susquehanna, and they've been lights out with coverage.
Well, you know, the offense, as the football is kicked away from North Central, and we'll get a return here. Play still going, still on his feet, out to near the 30-yard line. Dominic Wynn. But you know, the headline's going to be the offense, but the defense is still pitching a shutout.
Yeah, it's been an everybody eats sort of day, but not just on offense. It's been that way on defense. Everybody has gotten involved. This team, Susquehanna, has not been able to get anything established on the running game, and their passing game was off all day, and there's been opportunities to make plays for North Central, and they made them.
4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions for this defense that is trying to secure what would be a 3rd shutout on the season. They blanked Carthage College on September 21st and then shut out North Park University on October 19th. And as you've talked about, Tyoka, you can best believe, as Susquehanna tries to air it out, incomplete, trying to find Buchter. that the first string offense or first string defense on the sideline, they are rooting hard for these backups to keep that shutout intact.
No question about it. I mean, they work too hard to put themselves in position. And I don't know what the record books say, but you can guarantee you if the scoreboard stays similar to what it is now, it's going to be some sort of historic win in the playoffs. You can best believe. And because you just don't get opportunities like this because the teams are too good.
Well, another one of the elements, Brad Spencer, the head coach at North Central, talked to us this week. It's important for him and his staff to use empowering words and use proper energy. His first boss, the man he played for, John Thorne, said, once you think you know everything, you know nothing. And so these are the types of ideas that are instilled to these Cardinal players every single day from this coaching staff. He talked about, again, proper word usage to empower, not to tear down. Instead of using the word but, substitute it with other things when you are being critical but trying to coach them up.
You know what I love about stuff like that and what I love about this game? Everything you just talked about is applicable to life.
Sure.
And that's what really, especially when you're talking D3 football, the overwhelming majority of everybody we watch in the film today will be taking these lessons into the real world, not into pay for play. But this game can, if you allow it, if you make yourself available to it, can teach you lessons that allow you to be winners in life. And that's really what it's all about, right?
No doubt. 3rd down and 2 for the Riverhawks. Croyle has a first down completion. Sean Yamada, 3rd string tight end, has his first reception and his 4th of the year. That is Susquehanna's first 3rd down conversion after missing its first 12 opportunities today, Ty.
Yeah, and this is unfamiliar territory for this program. They haven't lost a road game since 2021 to Johns Hopkins. And in fact, head coach Tom Perkovich talked about we like to play on the road. We embrace the opportunity to go on the road because of all of the advantages he thinks it brings in terms of a lack of distractions.
Yeah,
yes.
It's a togetherness that you don't necessarily have when you're on your own campus with the other students around and you're coming and going in your own apartment or dorm room or whatever the circumstance is.
Yeah.
You don't have as many parents and family members around when you're on the road, so he's able to have the team focused. And I thought it was interesting, until last year, they had not played any road games where they stayed in a hotel. That they wound up having longer road trips last year where it necessitated staying in the hotels. But that was something that, again, we're used to the Division I model where most everything is either a long bus ride or a flight where you're going to have to use the hotels. But at the D3 level, that was a different aspect for him to factor in. But he does prefer, he has imparted his players and his coaches to take on that same mentality. It is not manifested today, certainly, but it's been a staple of this program from Pennsylvania for many years now.
And that mentality has borne itself into having this long winning streak on the road. That's what makes today so surprising. And I guarantee you, Coach Perk is probably the most surprised in the stadium about how this thing has turned out, because they just don't play like this on the road ever. They don't play like this ever, but especially on the road. They show up as the best version of themselves. Today, not today.
Excuse me. John Kredensky with his first reception of the day. And Susquehanna has one loss this season. It came against the reigning national champion Cortland, which it kind of helped to catapult their 10-game winning streak to get here to the national semifinals.
And even that was a heartbreaker, 2-point loss.
Croyle was hit as he aired it out, trying to find Robert Stolfa. And so the clock stops with 5:25 on the clock.
Come into the game, you play like a starter. If you get unblocked, you get a hit on the quarterback.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works. I've been a backup player. I know what that's like. And plus, you want to send a message to not only your teammates, but to the staff. Hey, I can play.
That was Philip Carlton, backup linebacker from Plainfield, Illinois, just a freshman with an opportunity to make a play. And so now the punt unit out for Susquehanna. Fair catch called for at the 10-yard line. Ball lands at the 5 and trickles across the goal line into the end zone for a touchback.
I was hoping that stayed in because I was going to show some love to the punter.
No, you weren't.
But no chance. It didn't work out.
The Cardinals 66, the Riverhawks nothing. Final 5 and change in the fourth quarter of this Division III National semifinal. The winner Certainly looks like the Cardinals is going to go on to Texas for a chance to play for Coach Spencer's 3rd national title and the 2nd for him as head coach of this program.
I guarantee he's not getting old to him.
No. Calvin Lavery, the backup quarterback, getting an opportunity once again. Handing it off. 3-yard gain for Jordan Williams. The offensive numbers just continue to amaze. That is now over 300 rushing yards for the team. 46 carries for 302 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns to go along with 275 passing yards.
Yeah, this is a running football team. As great as their quarterback, Luke Lehnen, is, they start everything with running the ball, including with his legs.
Yeah.
And so then that's where it opens up the bootlegs, the waggles, moving them out of the pocket, and the explosive plays downfield. So this is on par for them and how they like to attack a defense.
And again, it all starts up front with this excellent offensive line for the Cardinals. We can't say their names enough. The starters, Jeske Maples, 2nd-team All-American at the left tackle spot. Nick Fairley, the starting left guard, who, by the way, his brother Joe was a All-American tackle, now the tight ends coach for this team, another one of those family relations. He's 2nd-team All-Conference. The starting center, John Golden, Illinois State transfer. He spent a couple of years at Eastern Michigan to begin, and he has been rock solid in the middle. Then Sam Pryor, quote, he's a monster at the right guard position, 1st-team All-American, and Ryan Kennelly, 1st-team All-Conference, on the right side out at the tackle position. Just remarkable consistency and depth up front.
Yeah, the Susquehanna staff told us every play there are 10 great blockers and 1 ball carrier that's benefiting from those great blocks.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we saw today, right?
Yep. Garrett McAtee on the receiving end.
Whether it was the tight ends, whether it was receivers blocking on the perimeter, we saw 10 great blockers in red jerseys and a ball carrier finding open holes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
9-yard pickup there for the freshman from Mount Zion, Illinois. Had a touchdown at Milliken earlier this year. And the best thing he did there after catching the football was stay in bounds. Keep that clock running. Winding down on the 3-minute mark. Williams, big hole outside, trying to make a man miss. His forward progress gets him to about midfield. Another pickup on the ground for the sophomore from Jacksonville. Give him 15 yards on the carry.
And I love the intelligence of the sophomore, not running out of bounds. You're going to see a late cutback back into the field. But again, where's the defender showing up? And then a late cutback to stay in bounds. I love that. Understanding that most important is we get to 0-0-0 with everybody being healthy.
Ben Monguer, backup cornerback with the tackle.
So they're over 300 yards rushing. They came in averaging just over 300, 301. But just think of this. Susquehanna defensively was giving up less than 100 yards a game on the ground.
And now they have surrendered over 600 total yards of offense to North Central today.
Williams, the ball carrier. No gain on the play.
Williams, no gain. As we wind our way down to the 2-minute timeout. North Central about to win its 14th game of the year and punch a ticket to another Stag Bowl.
It is a blessing to be playing football in late December.
Yeah, now you get to practice during Christmas.
There you go.
Best president of all.
Right? I've been there many times. Thank goodness.
Brad Spencer and his team, couple of minutes away
This is the 2-minute
from
timeout.
going to the Stag Bowl. There are a number of 6th-year seniors on this North Central roster who are going to get an opportunity to potentially win a 3rd national championship in their tenure as Cardinals. They won it in 19, they won it in 2022. And now 2 years later, looking to hoist another national championship trophy in a couple of weeks. They'll get the opportunity. And you and I were talking during the break, what will the plan be for those 2 weeks with Christmas in the middle? Does coach make sure they keep with their regimented schedule and we're going to practice on the 25th regardless, or will there be some leeway?
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, it's a Wednesday, right? Christmas is on a Wednesday. So I've been there on both sides of that coin. As a collegiate player at Penn State, we've practiced on Christmas Day before, and then I've had opportunities where I could go home and spend Christmas with my family as long as I met up at the bowl site. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that.
Well, it won't be new for them because they've been down this road before, so I'm guessing Coach Spencer has it mapped out and his staff has it mapped out. Unlike you guys at Penn State, you talked about sometimes Joe Pa would have you guys go to Florida and have practices before Christmas as we have a whistle. I mean, that's, with their resources, not something that's reasonable here. The vast majority of this Cardinals roster is guys from this part of the country, so you would think most of them within driving distance would be able to get home and back for a Christmas Day celebration with their family. Does that factor into what they do? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, again, not having the resources to be versatile, and then also add into the fact, any coach, I don't care who it is, there is never enough practice time. There's never enough opportunity to prepare. But I think also he has to look at his team. Each individual team is different. How's the leadership? How's the health? Do we need some rest? There's a lot of factors that are going to come into play on that decision, but I think it's a decision that matters.
But as we just illustrated, they have been down this road many times before. They have reached the last 4 Stag Bowls and are about to head to Houston, Texas, to Shell Energy Stadium for the next Stag Bowl and an opportunity to win a 3rd national title. During his tenure as head coach, what do we show? 3rd year now as head coach. He's lost, what, 3 total games, 2 of them in the Stag Bowl? I think he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, yeah.
Williams cuts it up again inside the 40-yard line. 8-yard gain. Berkeley Wagner with the tackle. Logan Rhodes, the Colgate transfer, a little slow to get up. He played for the Raiders at the FCS level last year as a wide receiver, although he never got into a game for Colgate.
You know, the guys are working on getting Luke Lehnen in here to talk to us after, well, not in here, but on the field to talk to us. Maybe we should ask him. Maybe we should find out, hey, you're going to see what kind of pool he got, man, so we can get Christmas off.
We will. We will have the Chatham, Illinois native and 2-time captain, one of those guys looking for a 3rd national title during his 6 years in college. We'll have him join us in just a few moments after Williams.
Look how hard Williams
just keeps
running.
fighting.
Are you kidding? Come look at this.
Just illustrates what we've been talking about and seeing and enjoying all day long.
And how about the big guys joining in the party, though? Looking for work downfield, understanding that we've got a back who refuses to go down. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch the play. I'm going to go and get involved and continue to push him.
And because of that, he is now a 100-yard rusher today. Those extra yards got him to 106.
He deserves it.
How about that?
That's amazing. Wow.
Time to celebrate in Naperville, although it's really been a 3-hour celebration right along.
No question. And that final play of the game has really been indicative of how this day has gone. And they deserve to finish the game in that way, just mashing the defense and refusing to go down. It's been that way really from the opening snap. And so they've played in the way that you say they deserve to be in the Stag Bowl.
And again, the defense preserved its 3rd shutout of the season. The first teamers were happy that the 2nd and 3rd teamers kept a 0 up on the scoreboard.
No question about that. And again, on the other side, you know there's going to be better days for Coach Perk and his staff and his team. They've got a lot of contributors who have eligibility left. And they're going to learn from what just happened. This was about the intensity from the first snap. What it takes from an intensity standpoint to play championship football even before you get in a championship game. I think they'll learn from that.
And we welcome in Luke Lehnen, the winning quarterback. Congratulations, Luke. You're going back to the Stag Bowl. How does that feel for you and the Cardinals this year?
Thank you. It feels great. Just being able to do that 4 times in a row. It just means a lot to me and my teammates and my coaches, and also for all the alums and fans and family that come out and watch us every week.
Luke, it was really impressive with the touchdowns, the long runs, but I just could not help but fall in love with your offensive line. Talk about the job they did not only today but all year, and what kind of confidence that gives you as a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, they give me tons of confidence every week. What they did today was just unreal. I mean, every play, it seemed like we were getting 8 yards, 10 yards, first down almost every play. I mean, they work so hard. They never get any of the spotlight, but they work so hard at practice, work so hard in games. And it's just awesome seeing them pancake dudes on the ground and getting up, and they're just laughing like maniacally. It's just awesome to watch.
Well, it's almost like you've looked at the stat sheet, because as a team, you piled up 638 total yards of offense and averaged 8.99 yards per play. It really is remarkable.
Yeah, everybody did their 111 tonight, just did an unreal job. And shout out to the coaches for the game plan as well.
So Luke, we've had a debate up here, right? Listen, you're the captain, you're the star, you're the Gallardi winner. Are you going to talk coaching and allowing you to have Christmas off so you can be with the nurse, your wife, Jillian, or are you guys going to be practicing on Christmas Day?
I think we'll be getting Christmas off. I'm not too sure yet, but what I've heard, I'm pretty sure we'll at least get Christmas off.
Well, I got a feeling he's going to listen to your input.
Maybe so, maybe.
Well, congratulations, Luke. It was a pleasure watching you play here today. Good luck in a couple of weeks in the Stag Bowl against Mount Union.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
A look at the bracket one more time. Mount Union won in the snow earlier today. North Central, no problem, taking out Susquehanna again. For the Riverhawks, congratulations on a record-setting win that ends at 12-2, a program record with those 12 victories.
So, listen, I am so impressed with North Central. I haven't seen Mount Union this year, but I can guarantee you, you're not going to come in and steal anything from North Central. You're going to have to beat this football team, and you're going to have to be physical at the line of scrimmage. And when all else fails, number 5 has the ball in his hand in every play, and you got to deal with that dynamic player.
North Central, unbeaten, ranked number 1 in the country, will take a 14-0 record into the Stag Bowl. The folks from Naperville have a chance for what would be a 3rd national title 2 weeks from tonight. That'll do it. For Tioga Jackson, I'm Doug Sherman. For our entire crew, thanks so much for watching, and so long from Naperville, Illinois.